It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Hey, good morning, Minneapolis. Good morning, St. Paul. And hope you're getting ready for the weekend. And speaking of the weekend, might be a great time to go see a movie at Marcus Theaters. Marcus Theaters, the best movie chain in the country. And don't forget, every Tuesday, special $6 gets you into any movie at any Marcus Theater. Hey, today's report is full of exciting, surprising, and some exclusive news. Stay tuned. And we start off with some television news. So, while ratings jumped 15% last week when Kristen Wiig hosted the show, 4 days before Saturday, social platforms and publicists announced joining Kristen on the show would be Martin Short. Oh, and John Hamm, and Matt Damon, and Paul Rudd, and Ryan Gosling. Well, that's why the ratings were up. And take it to the bank, Kevin Costner will be back for the Yellowstone final season. That's the word. That's exciting. Now some movie blockbuster news. I can't remember any movie being shot where Oscar winners were involved and nobody knew about it until now. However, the movie Mary has just wrapped shooting overseas, and Oscar winner Anthony Hopkins plays King Herod. And Israeli hottest star, the beautiful Noah Cohen, will play Mary, Jesus' mother. Oscar winners for costumes and makeup and cinematography are also part of this movie. I'm hearing it's going to be huge and nobody knew about it. It's the story of Mary from the birth of Jesus to her death. No release date yet. How about a couple of nuggets about some movie sequels? Do you remember 2001, Bridget Jones' Diary, or the 2004 sequel, Bridget Jones, The Edge of Reason? Then there was like that docudrama, Being Bridget Jones in 2020. Well, here comes 54-year-old Renee Zellweger and 63-year-old Hugh Grant back again. This new sequel is Bridget Jones Mad About That Boy. Well, that sounds horrible. Release date is sometime 2025. On the other hand, get ready for Joker 2. Now, it has a French name. I'll try my French. Joker, Folie à deux, which means Joker, Madness for Two. Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga are magnificent. I'll tell you what, I predict that this sequel, in time, will eventually surpass the $1,078,958,000 the original Joker made. Oh, and by the way, rated R because of extreme violence and some frontal nudity? Yeah. Release date is October 4th. Can't wait. Tomorrow, movie reviews and some more surprises. Have a great day, Mike Evans. See ya.
Hey, this is Steve Gorman, and this is the best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
There's a new list of baby names that are going the way of the dodo. We always give you these are the most common baby names for the year in Minnesota. This is the exact opposite, based on a bunch of, looking at the stats, if you will, over the last few years. Let me see how the company analyzed all this data on January 1 to see which names have the steepest year-to-year declines. The top 500 names for each gender over the last 2 years, and then they look over the last 20, and they come up with a list of these names are on the way out. People are no longer going there. This was a surprising one. On the girls' side, the number one name going the way of the dodo, Brooke. B-R-O-O-K-E.
It was so hot there for a while. I know a Brooke from, a couple of different generations. I think it was just so hot for so long.
I guess so. I know several Brooks, but I don't know any kids named Brooke. I can't think of a Brooke that's younger than 40 that I know.
Right.
Yeah. Julius on the boys' side. Julius is just about gone. Falling like a stone. I've known one Julius in my life that was like my age. I think of two. I think Dr. J, and then I think Julius Jennings, and then that's it. I only know, or Orange Julius, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I knew him as well.
That's immediately where my mind went, to every food court I've ever been in. Orange Julius, right over there. They're still cooking. Yeah, well, we did the most popular baby names of last year not long ago, and I think we prefaced it by saying, here's what you don't want to name your kid, because we went with, and by we, I mean I was told we were going with, I get to choose the middle name, the throwaway.
Okay.
But it was Taylor, and Taylor was, I think Garth Brooks had just named his kid Taylor. There was another famous person that just named their kid Taylor, and then you add in, it's not a gender-specific name.
Right.
And yeah, I think in Taylor's graduating class of over 600 people from Prior Lake High, I think half the class was named Taylor. I will say this, when we went to the pediatrician for the very first time, because I was growling a little bit. I went, Taylor, I think that's just going to be, all the kids are named Taylor. She said, you're being ridiculous. We're in the pediatrics room, and everyone was invited that day. There's like 10 groups of parents all in there with their babies. Just, I'm cute, mine's cute. And the nurse comes out, looks at her clipboard, and says, Taylor, and 5 couples stand up at the same time. I just looked at the face. I'm like, aha.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's well, at least she does, immediately there's going to be some connection. Like, I don't feel so all alone when there's 4 more of me in this room.
She hates it now, but there's only one Taylor Zepp.
Well, that's very true. The last names turn first names across the board are on the way out. On the boys list, these have been names that have seen a rise, and now they're going away. Baylor, Bradley, Brady, Clayton, Hendricks, Preston. Yeah, with good reason, because when you meet someone who says, "Hi, my name's Hendricks," you just want to slap them. I mean, it's just, come on. Yeah, who names their first name
cute.
Hendricks? Yeah, see,
baby Hendricks.
For a cat.
Yeah, maybe.
Or your next dog.
For girls, Mackenzie, Reagan spelled R-A-E, not Ronnie, R-E-A. Reagan and Sawyer, those are falling out of favor. Which is good. I mean, you don't need Sawyer as a girl's first name, Sawyer. I don't know if I like that one or not. In fact, I do know. What am I talking about? I don't like it. If your name is Sawyer, I'm sure you're lovely, and I apologize. But that's
Reagan,
just not my
don't
name.
you think of The Exorcist?
Of course I think of The Exorcist. Nora is on the way out. Nora.
I always liked that name.
Yeah, I like that one.
It's a good old school name. Or as the guy from Sleeping with the Enemy would say, Nora! Angela falling out of
my
favor.
sister. Well, that one also very high. My sister born in the early 1970s.
Yeah,
Born in the early 1970s. And there was a lot of Angelas. I know a lot of Angelas.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
cyclical, right?
My kids don't have kids yet, but I have a lot of nephews and nieces who are having babies these days, and I'm not recognizing. There's none of these names. Diana is on the way out. I'm trying to think. When's the last time I met a young Diana or Diana?
Right.
Been a long time. Amanda. See you later, Amanda. Also on the outs.
Boston tune, power ballad.
Yeah, right. That's a very good point. Amanda, I had a thought and it's already escaped me about that. But yeah, I haven't seen, these are just, I'm thinking about all the names of the kids I meet, and no Amandas, no Dianas, no Noras. That happens.
Johnny is near the top of the list I see for guys' names that are down. That one's been so classic for so long, as in centuries.
Wait, Johnny, that
John.
means not John or Jonathan, but actually the name is Johnny, I would imagine.
I see. All right,
That's
so they're
weird.
not going with Jonathan. Yeah, they're just going with Johnny. All right. Yeah, all right.
Wow.
There.
Also fading off is Maximus, which, I mean, literally, if you want your kid to just get picked on every day of his life, name him Maximus.
Unless they can handle it.
Man,
Yeah.
you're not kidding. You're definitely throwing a gauntlet in that kid's face.
Dickus.
Have you guys ever had a baby name that was spoiled by someone else, either wanting that name or choosing that name, or some evil person with that name?
No. I do know this. My oldest brother, when my mom was pregnant for the first time, she was planning, if it's a boy, she was going to name him Steven. And then during her pregnancy, there was some blow up with a friend or a coworker. Somebody named Steven really annoyed my parents. And so then she was like, I'm off that name now. And then all the years later, when number 8 came along, she was ready to assign that name again. So thanks to somebody who I've never met and don't remember the story pissing my mom off, I am named Steven, because I wouldn't have been had my oldest brother been given that name.
Your oldest brother's name?
Robert.
You would have been Robert, probably.
Probably would have been Robert.
Bob, how are you this morning?
I met a Daisy the other day,
Cute.
which I
Did you
thought
really?
was adorable.
That's
Yeah.
a little kid, Daisy?
No, grown woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
woman.
my the Richfield 7, they love flowers for baby names.
Really?
We got a Lily and a Violet.
Oh, lovely.
I think there's another one.
I like, Daisy's a good one.
Yeah, isn't that cute?
I know one Daisy. She's there's a music attorney I know in Nashville, and his executive assistant who runs the whole office and everything. Her name's Daisy, and you meet her, and she's an adult woman, and I just expect to see like a Pippi Longstocking looking kid with lollipops, and it's like, you're a very formidable businesswoman. I apologize.
I mean, she couldn't be angry, could she? Have you ever seen a Daisy just angry, just pissed off? You just Daisy.
Daisy's
come on.
kicking ass.
Yeah.
I like Daisy. That's a good one. But Candace, are you familiar with someone who got warned off of a baby name because of a situation?
Well, I just found out that my baby name was the name of someone's ex-girlfriend, but apparently she was very nice. So I'm still going to push for it, but it
Okay.
is kind of weirding me out. But I can't. I want the name that, It's my
Are you
baby
okay?
name.
Wow.
Tell us
that-
you're pregnant, Candace.
No.
Oh, my
That went-
God. I'm tweeting it
All
right now.
sorts of unexpected
No, but I used to have
avenues.
this doll, like this baby doll, when I was little, and I named her this specific. I'm not saying it because you guys will
Don't-
ruin it.
don't say it.
There's nothing wrong with Beatrice.
I think it's weird that you spell it with a Y instead of an I, Tris, because that people say trice. But anyway, go for it. Whatever you like. Our daughter's name is Marley, and when she was born, a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, that's the name we're going to use." And I was like, "You having a baby?" He goes, "No, but someday."
Oh.
And I was like, "Well," by the way, he lives in England. I'm like, "You're going to be okay." And then years later, I mean, he named his son Marley. So there's a boy named Marley who's like 16 years younger than my daughter, and they've never met. So far, it's all okay. No, they haven't had to, have a standoff in the street. But she'd kick his ass. I mean, she's 21, he's like 6. So she'd just waste that kid.
What do you go with short for Marley? Just Marley, right? You don't Marl?
You just say no,
Hey,
Marley.
Marl.
Although it's B. I call her B, which is short
Okay.
for Binky, which makes no sense at all.
The Binky.
Did you like Binkies when she was a baby?
She's my little Binky. She loved it, and then one day when she was in, I think, 2nd grade, she came home from school, and she literally sat down and looked at me, and I could tell she had something on her mind. And I said, "What's going on?" And she goes, I don't want you to call me Binky anymore." And
That
I
hurts.
melted, and I said, "Really? Okay." And I said, she goes, "I just want you to call me Marley." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Thank you for telling me. Thank you." And the next day, I was talking to her. I said, "So anyway, Marley," and she looked at me and she started to cry. She goes, "You can still call me Binky."
Oh, honey.
And then Binky's been shortened to B, and I literally don't even think about it. But when I was like, "Hey B, what's the and of course people are like, what do you call her?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a whole story. Don't worry."
My
the B
boys,
word.
my boys had to talk with me too. Hudson and August both have addressed that because I will still slip into Hudsy or Augsy, and they're like,
Yeah.
Dad,
Dad.
don't do that anymore.
That's it's
hard to
you get to
break.
the I hate you phase
Man,
around the corner.
My favorite thing about my name is I'll introduce myself to especially older people, like at the gym or something. I'll say my name is Candace, and then they'll just call me Candy. They're like, "Okay, Candy."
right away.
Just right away.
I do that just to be stupid, but I know that because I know people actually do that. I mean, I'll occasionally look at you and say Candy, and you don't even flinch. And
When I
think,
was little, if I liked you, I would say my name is Candace, but you can call me Candy.
Oh,
wow.
my mom refers to you as that all
See?
the time.
It's
She
like
always
an
asks,
older thing.
"How's that candy?" Cookie always says, "How's that candy?"
The Cookie and
because she's never
Candy
been to a
Show.
strip club.
Boy.
I don't know, something about
On the
older
silver
people.
stage, Cookie and Candy, your dream duo.
The Black Sabbath. Sweet Leaf comes on.
No sweeter leaf than Candy on the silver stage. Wow.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
Any sort of job, you do have to be aware of your coworkers' needs or wants or the things that just drive them crazy. I mean, in any job you've ever had, have you ever worked with someone who just smells bad?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and like continually, and you're like,
Yeah.
even if you've mentioned, like to the point where you might go, "Hey, man, he's kind of close quarters here. Just maybe work on that. It starts to. I have a real thing with smells. I'm pretty sensitive to them, actually. And when I'm around people that just do not want to ever get clean, it doesn't last long. It's tough.
If I say no, does that mean it's me?
Possibly. Possibly.
Shoot.
Well, no, I'll say this, Candace. We've been working together for 13 months, and there's only been 2 days where I was like, girl, my God, get outside.
Those 2 days were horrible.
Yeah, the worst.
I never thought I'd have to say, where's the hose at a radio station, but it happened.
It was laundry day.
It was laundry day, I know. But it's an important thing. You got to be aware of these things. But the smell is one. That's usually the first thing because it's so rare. It's not that it happens all the time. And other people just have tics. I worked with a guy once, and he just touched stuff all the time. Just had to had no idea that when he was doing it, but you'd set your coffee mug down, and it would be, but if it was empty, then you just look over and he would just a quick dart of his hand, it was like a frog's tongue, whoop, real fast. He would just get his fingertip to stuff.
This
touched
is
everything.
This is so petty, but I had a cube job where I worked in a cube for 3 months, and the guy on the other side of my wall there at the cube to my right must have eaten like a dozen apples a day. He ate very crunchy apples all day long. No. How healthy of him. I remember bringing him just like a gallon of apple juice one day. I'm like, here, try drinking it and don't slurp. But it just all day long, crunch, crunch, crunch. That's
He'd never cut it up, just eat the full apple.
No, he just, ate and he ate, by the way, I don't know why this bothered me, but he also ate the core of the apple, the whole apple.
I saw a thing,
but I didn't like being in a cube, so I probably sat down a little rankled anyway,
That's part of it too. But no, if I had to listen to a guy, I love apples, but if I listened to a guy just eat apples throughout the day, I'd go midway through the second day and I'd go, hey man, seriously?
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can do? Just apple juice ain't going to cut it?
Yeah, we had a lady in that same office. What a terrible place. We did, what we did? We would go around to stores and do inventory for them. And I was constantly volunteering to go into the field. I'd rather stand in a Walgreens somewhere counting pill bottles than be in an office situation. I'm just not wired for it. But her niece passed away like 4 years ago. But every day she talked about her niece. I could only, whip up some compassion for about the first 3 weeks. And then after a while, I'm like, are you sure she's dead? Maybe she just faked it and left you. Oof. I don't know, right?
At some point, yeah, you do have there has to be the boundaries, And again, that's where with bands, if you don't respect those boundaries, it just goes straight to hell in a handbasket. That's why you have separate buses and separate planes and separate hotels. Huge understanding of someone who's lost someone they care about, but eventually, but it's like church and state. When you blend them, it weakens both. It gets in the way of both. Like nothing messes up church more than bringing politics, and nothing messes up politics more than bringing church. Like they're both on their own. And grief, my God, losing family members, that's for your time. It's not for office time. Give yourself a break. Yeah, that's tough. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like, there's a reason that people talk about boundaries. It's because, what do they say? Fences make great neighbors. It's pretty simple.
And I never said anything. I never confronted her about it. But, you knew it was coming up. It would kind of drive me a little bit crazy. I'm on the KQRS Facebook post. What bad habits do your coworkers have that drive you crazy? Or maybe you have one, 651-989-ROCK. That's the talk and text line. Or, like I said, the KQ Facebook post. The guy who sits behind me constantly chews ice. That's the Apple guy. I'm right there with you, Michelle. The guy chewing ice. Isn't that an iron deficiency?
No, you know what? I worked years ago, and I actually worked with and my roommate. We worked together. He was like a manager, and I was like an underling. But I rented the upstairs of his house, and he crunched ice all the time. All the time. And then at the time, my platonic friend Rosemary mentioned to him she'd seen a thing that men who chew ice are sexually frustrated. Ended it immediately. Seriously, he was like, "Oh, you really? Huh?" And we laughed about it, whatever. And then the next day, I noticed that sucker hadn't gone anywhere near his ice because he could not admit maybe there was a little problem going on there.
I worked with a fella who would take his shoes and his socks off and trim his toenails at work.
Oh no!
At work.
no.
Clip away.
That's where I can get really direct really fast. If you're talking about a deceased family member over a long period of time, that's one thing. You've got to kind of swallow it there. But if you're clipping your toenails on the job, guess who's going to get right in your face about that? This guy right here.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, we have Frampton tickets at 8:00, but we're going to bitch about our coworkers a little bit. Past coworkers, nothing's going to get you into any trouble. On the KQ Facebook page, a lot of talking. That is my big pet peeve, and we do it. We just BS for a living. Mm-hmm. But as soon as the show's over, when you've got to get something done, I don't know, some piece of paperwork or a commercial or something, and the salesperson that comes by that has 7 hours to kill today and just wants to chat up the weather for 40 minutes, that one will drive me crazy.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
The game is Shock Your Monkey. Best of luck to you. Tony, take it away.
Edward,
thank you.
The question to you is, the bullet ant is named as such because its sting hurts like a gunshot. True or false?
True or false?
False.
He said false.
I'm very sorry I didn't get you shocked the monkey. It's true. It hurts like a gunshot. Hurts like all heck.
Really?
I ain't kidding you.
Is that like parachute pants?
Exactly like that.
Kind of like that, yeah. I will say this: the relief on this monkey's face is palpable. Anyway,
Good Lord.
here we go.
Number 2, in 2014, a woman was arrested in Georgia for possession of a spoon with questionable material on it. Suspecting it was meth, toxicology reports revealed that it was residue from SpaghettiOs.
False.
Crepes, I'm sorry. It was true. It was residue from
We're
SpaghettiOs.
talking about SpaghettiOs. I thought I was getting set up.
Yeah.
See, that's called the Tony Lee double whammy right there.
Jesus.
Painful paranoia.
Wow.
Number 3, Ariana Grande refused to appear in an episode of Game of Thrones because her character's name was Gonorrhea.
False.
All right, you got the monk.
Yes, I like
I'm
that.
familiar with gonorrhea anyway. I don't know who the hell Ariana Grande is, but
That's pretty...
I like the distaste when Edward said false. He's over you, Tony. All right, let's go. Number 4, Edward.
2 more for you, Edward. In the 90s, Vanilla Ice had a sponsorship from Kawasaki, and he was actually the 6th fastest jet skier in the world.
Correct.
Wow, you knew that pretty quick, you
Damn.
Vanilla Ice obsessed fan.
Boy, he's from Florida, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Van Winkle, I believe, was his actual
Rob
name.
Van Winkle.
Rob
you're
Van
right.
Winkle.
All right, here's your last one.
Winkle motor.
that'd be a good term for getting drunk. Van Winkled.
Yes.
Got
Man,
Van Winkled
no
last
kidding.
night. Yeah.
Here's your last one. Lord Byron, British poet, had an extensive collection kept in files of his lover's pubic hair.
False.
It was true.
Man.
Kooky Lord Byron actually did that.
Well, he had
Another
that.
creepy guy.
There's a whole
kidding.
collection of poetry that's called The Short Curlies by Lord Byron. So, yeah, dead giveaway. Edward, 2 for 5. But, hey, man, we feel for you because those were tough. Tony came out. He's acting like it's Game 7 of the finals today. So sit tight, Edward. We're going to see what happens with contestant number 2. Candace, who is contestant
I
number 2?
can't wait.
All right. Jeff
Good morning, all.
from Richfield.
Jeff from Richfield. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, all. And I love your show, fabulous. But, Steve, I've talked to you before, and I've told you you're on my Mount Rushmore with Gene Krupa and Keith Moon. And like Adam Richmond, you have been a huge influence on my percussion
Oh,
career.
it's Blow Steve Gorman Day.
I tell you what, Jeff. Jeff, I mean, listen, no disrespect to Edward, but you're my guy.
Give him the easy questions.
Jeff,
I was just about to say that. Give me an easy question.
quick question, Jeff. Are you familiar with the Richfield 7?
I am from listening to your show. I have
Okay.
no idea who they are.
Okay,
Yeah.
you didn't cross their path back in the day then. Okay, just
Maybe
wanted
Used to
our
rob
moms.
banks in
No,
southern
I'm
Minnesota.
1980 Richfield, so I'm about 3 years. I'm
Well,
quite a bit older than Candace.
I'm
so.
sure you went to school with a lot of our moms.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean-
Yeah.
Yeah,
I might
Candace
have.
could be your daughter. We don't even know.
Well, this is taking a turn. Wow.
Well, I did have a girlfriend in high school whose last name was Wheeler. So,
What the heck?
Look out.
Is it all a blur,
Look out.
Candace?
but Candace, you and I have discussed this off air before.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not related. It's not. I've asked her that before. If she was. If she
Let's
or
shock
her
that
sister
monkey,
were-
boys.
Candace does not want to talk about the possibility that Jeff the percussionist could be her father. Let's bring out the wives to see if they predicted what you'd say. All right, it's time for Jeff to play Shock the Monkey. Best of luck, sir.
Jeffrey, number 1. Dr. Phil used to be a motocross racer. He was.
Wow.
No,
He'd
he
still
wasn't.
pop a wheelie like
No.
nobody's business.
That'd have to be
No.
an awful big motorcycle. He's a
Yeah.
tall sumbitch.
Yeah, he doesn't have the build for it. Yeah, he might have. Yeah, he might have thought he was, but I guarantee you he was not.
Exactly. That was my thought too.
Don't question my
Yeah,
sources.
Wow.
You guys argue amongst yourselves.
Back off Tony's cloud.
Dr. Phil is badass. Number 2, originally commissioned to perform the theme song for Spider-Man, was Bob Dylan, but they couldn't agree to licensing terms.
Bob Dylan, Spider-Man. 1962, he hit the scene. Same birthday as mine, by the way, August 10th, 1962, Amazing Fantasy number 15.
True or false? False? Correct. Bob Dylan was not going to do the theme song for Spider-Man.
A spider does whatever a spider can.
Number 3, in an episode of Saved by the Bell, Screech's cousin was played by now big-time football coach Jim Harbaugh.
No. Not a bell. Harbaugh, eh?
What say you?
False.
He said false.
Incorrect. It was Jim Harbaugh.
Really?
Yes. Boy, this
Which one is he? Jim, is he the coach of the?
Was with Michigan.
Bengals?
Now,
Yeah.
now with the Chargers.
Chargers, yeah.
All right.
2 more, my friend.
All
In
right.
parts of southern India, raisins are used as a form of currency.
Grapes, raisins. I'm going with. It's Italy. I'll say false.
All right. Process.
You got the ape.
Wow. Jeff is taking this like it's the bar exam.
One more, lad. In the Tommy Two-Tone song of 1981, if you dialed 867-5309, you would reach a woman named Phyllis.
False.
Oh, wow.
Of course, it was Jenny.
Jenny.
Yes.
Woo, he got it. Jeff, that's 3 for 5.
Nice.
Edward, strong 2 for 5. Gentlemen, thank you both for playing.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Cheers. Wow. We got to shock the monkey. We met Candace's dad. This has been a great morning.
Yeah. Hell of a morning, man.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
A third of Americans polled said they would leave their job right now
Yeah.
and make a lateral move. Same money, same benefits, everything. Would you just take a similar job for the same pay? And a third of people said yeah, which means a third of people are just not thrilled with the job they currently have, and they'd pursue greener grass and damn the torpedoes of the nonsense it involves when you have to go to a new place and start a new job. That was a surprising number to me. I mean, not even a pay raise, nothing. Just would you switch? And the answer is yes. So what that tells me is an awful lot of us are probably thinking about getting new jobs, probably looking at jobs available online here and there. Job interviews, an unfortunate part of the process.
Yeah.
And as you let us know, Zep, there are 6 job interview tricks they say are very, very helpful, very successful, and they're backed by science.
All right. Science got involved.
I mean, I trust my iPhone and I trust airplanes, so I'm a fan of science. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, they put a lot of thought into it, right?
Yeah. Here's this science tells you if you're going to have a job interview soon, number one, visualize a good interview. Studies have shown athletes do better when they visualize themselves doing well, and it works with interviews too. No argument. I visualize a lot of stuff before I do it. Always have.
Yeah.
On a 8th grade soccer team, first time we had a coach who sat us down before a game, and he said, we're going to sit here and no one's going to speak for 20 minutes, and we're going to close our eyes, and we're going to imagine the game, and we're going to he gave the whole visualization thing, and it didn't really work too well. But by the 3rd or 4th game of the season, it was coming around, and it really became an important part. My before years on the road before a gig, I would just take I'd take the pre-gig nap about 30 or 40 minutes out, a 10-minute power nap, wake up from there, and then just kind of go into a zone where I was just eliminating other thoughts from my head and getting myself, but just picturing those first few songs and what I wanted them to feel like, how I wanted them to go. I still do that. Visualizations is great. How about this? This is a good one. I could have used this a million times in life. Before the interview, stop saying that you're nervous beforehand. Start using the word excited.
Ooh.
Okay.
See, I think these apply to way more than just job interviews. Anxiety and excitement are similar emotions. Your body doesn't really know the difference. Your mind does. If you tell yourself out loud that you're excited instead of nervous, it actually calms you down.
Yeah, I mean, I like that one. It's perspective, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's that whole, dad line of mine, that my dad, well, if you can't get out of it, get into it.
Yeah.
Because we are going to make this fence on this hot South Dakota day.
Yeah.
And either we can have a little bit of fun and be happy that we're alive and we're together and we're making fence on our own property, or you can mope around. I believe at the time I still moped around, but eventually I think I understood what he's talking about. You're not nervous, you're excited. Yeah, that's just a better way to look at it.
If you can't get into it, if you can't get out of it, get into it. That's a good one, boy. I might tattoo that on a part of my body that I can see to remind myself.
There's a lot of stuff on the farm that applied to picking rocks, bales, working
just
cattle.
anything.
Just a lot of it. Most of it, really.
Well, anything in life. I mean, it's funny because, I've had those conversations with my kids where they're like, well, this job's just meaningless anyway. And it's like, no, it's really not. Any job you're doing, you're putting your stamp on it. You're putting your, if you're the guy bussing tables at the snack shack, but your boss is going to see you, and then, it just everything you do, if you just work a little harder than the next guy, it does pay off. It does get noticed. It does get acknowledged. And you establish those good habits. All the nonsense I would talk, and all I really needed to say was, if you can't get out of it, get into it. That's a really good one. I don't think I've ever heard that before. I'm having a real moment here. Wow. Thanks, Brian's dad.
Yeah, I'll call Skip up a little bit later and let him know that he's still out there doing good work.
How about this? Before any job interview or before anything you're doing, have a ritual. It can be something very small, like listening to the same song before you go in.
Smoke some pot.
Studies have shown that studies have shown that rituals can reduce your heart rate, help you concentrate, and make you feel more in control. Again, no question about it.
Yeah, science. They're onto something here, right? It just tones you down a little bit, right? Puts you back in control.
What do you do? What's the ritual, Candace?
I put some stuff in my bra. I have a couple stones.
Okay, hold on.
Ranch dressing.
Lucky.
I thought you just had like 5 nipples.
Couple things here. But this is just before an important event or a moment, or specifically before a job interview?
I've done it for job interviews, or if I'm feeling like I really need some luck. Yeah, I'll I manifest things a lot, so I'll write down in my journal the night before, I already have this job.
Okay, got it.
I already am a rock star.
That's good visualization. Right
what if you put those stones in before a date? Well, this is a surprise.
But now listen, I'm not trying to go down I don't want to go down an inappropriate road where I'm talking about your unmentionables, but you're the same woman who has said you haven't worn a bra since the COVID.
Oh, well, crap.
So,
it's been a while since I've been in a job interview.
Well, that's true. That's true. It has been on. Okay.
I'm such a guy, you know what I thought about? I was like, you've got rocks in your bra. That means if you had to, in a life or death situation, you could take that bra off and use it as some sort of makeshift catapult / rocket launcher
hell
with
yeah.
your rocks.
Hell
Good
yeah.
thinking, yeah.
Sure, David and Goliath.
But then that makes exactly, and that makes that bra a literal over the shoulder boulder
holder.
Yeah, all right, now we're making
how you
sense.
bring that full circle.
Job interview trick number 4, according to science. Science. Start with small talk. Weather,
be tricky.
traffic. Studies have found you're more likely to get a job if you start out with some meaningless chit chat because it builds trust.
I mean, just be careful. I mean, you just don't want to come in with something awkward, right? It's got to be just very, weather. Quite a day we're having here, huh? This weather-wise,
I guess.
A warm winter or something like that. You don't want to make it awkward, like, right?
You want to know a little something about the person, maybe, but then you don't want to look like you stalked and investigated them to learn about them, like you remember those Dr. Scholl's corn pads? That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And, because you read the guy had bunions once or something,
Is that your wife, Kitty, and your daughter Nate in that picture on the? Yeah, you don't want to know his family because you went on Facebook and stalked him, right?
Is that your daughter, or am I just really glad to be here? Wait, no, that's not what I was supposed to say. Check this out. Here's one that I wouldn't have expected. Get ready to brag. Studies have found women are a little more reluctant than men to brag in an interview. One trick is to pretend you're bragging about a friend instead of yourself, but showing confidence. People are looking for someone who's confident in their abilities. And a bit of a braggart, a little braggadocio in the job interview is apparently a good thing. And finally, this one, don't over-rehearse it, Candace. You'll sound scripted if you do. Plus, making a mistake is not always a bad thing. The pratfall effect, where you actually seem more likable if you make a mistake or trip over a word. Showing a little vulnerability, a little, oops, I'm so clumsy, it can go a long way towards humanizing and making you more relatable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You laughed earlier, but, earlier in the show, I christened myself Stevie Freshwater because I'm all about lake life now. Second year in Minnesota, I'm going to be I'm going to be laking and laking and laking. So Stevie Freshwater's campaign is probably going to launch pretty soon too. There's got to be enough. There's going to be a groundswell for that. You know what I mean? Like I don't have. He's cool with it, but I do need a good slogan. I'm thinking about this one: a chicken in every pot, a bag of pot in every pontoon. What do you think?
Here's your campaign song. Bring it in. Stevie Freshwater and Crystal Gable.
And going on the boating theme, I can borrow Tip a Canoe. See Canoe? Tip a Canoe and Steven Tyler, too, because we play the rock music.
How about sandals in January?
That's all. Hey, man, don't make fun of me for my sandals in January.
You're a Minnesotan now, and that proves it.
I'm working on that. It's going to be my country song. And she said she wore sandals in January. And that's how I knew he was a real man. Come on in. The water's fresh. That's another slogan. Fresh.
Yeah,
how about
there you
this?
go.
Read my lips. Ice cold beer.
Yeah.
Just trying to think of presidential slogans over the years.
I'm
striking out at Read My Lips and Tip a Canoe and Tyler, too. I should probably pay more attention to these things.
Well, I don't know, man. It's I don't think you have to. Have you paid attention to politics lately?
That's a very good point.
It doesn't take a lot of effort.
That's a very good point. But if you guys, I'm just going to say it. If you guys want to put me on the ballot, I'll have no choice but to whip out a campaign speech or 2 or 3, and we'll have fun.
I know. We got to come up with our own party. That's the trick, because guess what? I Googled it. How to get Stevie Freshwater on the ballot. And it turns out, you really need that political party thing. And that, there's like a whole bunch of steps. They lost me after the first step. When I saw there was like 10 steps, I was like, boo.
I actually founded a political party in 1991, but the only problem was it was in Ireland. It was called the GLF, which sounded like an Irish faction of some sort of offshoot. The GLF and it was an acronym. It stands for the Guinness Leadfoot, which I experienced after drinking about 6 or 8 pints of Guinness before getting up to walk to the bathroom. And I discovered what I then called the Guinness Leadfoot. lead foot because I felt totally normal till I tried to walk across a bar. And I was like, oh, wow, hey, those 6 or 8 or 10 pints added up real fast. Go figure. Moving a little slowly, wobbly, but boy, that first Guinness in Dublin's pretty special. So we can work it out. All right, stay tuned. The Stevie Freshwater for 24. I don't know. I'm feeling like we may have stumbled upon our first great quest of the year.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we're all up to it. And by that, I mean, do we know anyone that can help out with this?
We need a rally.
I'm just thinking that come on, there's 4 of us. Who else do we need? We got Tony, but you can be the campaign manager.
I'm out. I can't get involved in this.
No?
It's going to ruin my image.
All right, fair enough. Well, I mean, I as a running partner, Zepp, just the idea that Zepp, and then that's when we finally play off all the Zeppelin stuff right there. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would be cool.
Boom.
I was kind of thinking I would be like the deep guy that would do like break into the other headquarters and, start social media rumors about people.
I'm going to go against you, Steve.
What you're gonna run against me?
Yeah.
That's not cool at all.
Why? Well,
Wow, you're harshing his buzz.
Yeah.
Wow.
Party over.
Zepp, you're going to be you want to be the Chuck Colson of this whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Or who's the other? G. Gordon Liddy.
G. Gordon Liddy. I've got. You know what? I'm willing to shave off the beard and just go with the mustache. I'm not going bald for it, but I can go Liddy.
Imagine that. I'm thinking Zepp's a great VP candidate, and he's like, no, I'm solely on Black Ops.
Yeah, for sure.
So these are the kind of decisions I gotta face in a day. When do I announce my candidacy, and what party do I throw my hat in the ring for? Just add it to the list because we all have things we tackle every day. What's up?
Candace was on it. She was on it. She's going to run against you in the primary, and then when you whoop her because she's a woman, let's be honest.
Wow.
When you beat her, then she's your running mate. That's how it works. I've read all about this. I've been paying attention. Yeah. Wow. That's how that works. Then she'll be your running mate. You've got your ticket right there.
There's got to be something. The word wheeler, we can use that for something. I mean, that's a good word to use in a slogan somewhere.
Hell on wheels.
Hell on wheels.
Hell on wheeler. Sure. Wheel your face, steal your face. I don't know. We'll come up with something rock oriented. But okay, add it to the list. We've got decisions to make, people. We've got a campaign to organize and run.
Right.
But by the way, and what I'm getting at is there are other decisions. Top 10 decisions in a new poll we struggle with every day. Number 1 is what to eat. Is that something we're struggling with on a daily basis around here?
Only when there's no food.
Do you ever wake up and that's like the first thing you think of?
Yes.
What else do you think of? I mean, it's like I just can I eat before I pee is the only question, or do I have to get the piss out of the way first? I started in with the breakfast burrito right out of the sack this morning.
I pretty much eat whatever's if I wake up and I'm hungry, it's a question of. It doesn't. I don't even think about what the food on the plate or in the bowl is going to be. I think about how easy is it to get to the plate or the bowl. That's all I care, because I love granola. I like scrambled eggs. I like everything in between. I don't really care what it is. Just what is the easiest thing to get to me right now?
Yeah. Yesterday morning, a leftover Chick-fil-A. That's what I had.
Yeah, I generally don't sweat it as far as, the things that go into what do I want to eat. It's really just about availability and time management. I don't struggle with what to watch on TV. Maybe I have at some point in my life. This is number 2 on the list. If I decide I want to just watch TV, I already mentioned, like last night, I put on that show Suits just because I was desperate to fall asleep, and I figured maybe this will be numbing enough, and it worked. It put me out. But I just opened up Netflix and it was just there, and I just clicked on it. Like I was like, I don't care ultimately what it's going to be. If I'm not specifically going onto the TV to find something I'm already planning to watch, then I will click on the first thing I see. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'll look at previews for like an hour.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Tony, I'm right there with you. Sometimes that's all I do, and I'm not even kidding around about that. I'll sit there and watch, like 20 trailers. Last night I was trying to remember that movie that's nominated for an Oscar, and all I had to do was Google movies nominated for an Oscar. But what's that one Steve said that was really good? Because he likes, I like the movies he likes. What's that one he said was really good? He just loved it, and I think it had something to do with an Oscar. And I sat there for a minute, watched a few, and then I just ended up Googling best snowmobiles for 2024. And watched that on YouTube for like 2 hours. But so I do struggle. This one, that's a tough question for me. I never end up watching anything good.
Hey, that reminds me for the
What
campaign.
is the movie?
For the campaign, we got to work in some snowmobile action too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to come around. I mean, this winter there may not be a lot, but next winter, by the time the election comes around in November, we might have snow, and that snowmobile thing's going to come back and it's going to pay off.
I'm thinking there's going to be some big rebates this year because they're struggling a little bit. And by the way, the answer is Polaris, homegrown, right here in the backyard.
Oh, nice.
What's the movie?
The movie I said I loved is called Past Lives.
No, was
that one?
it?
That's nominated for Best Picture, and I said I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was something with, there's an actor I really like. He was in Westwood. All right.
Westwood.
The actor was in Westwood.
Westworld?
Westworld, sorry.
Oh.
Westwood. Westwood 1. No, Westworld, yeah.
Westwood, the story
Max.
of life on the UCLA campus. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I saw Barbie and Oppenheimer and Past Lives. I think that's only 3 I saw that were nominated.
All right, it must have been Past Lives. American Fiction, there it is.
Yeah. You know what? I completely buried the lead there. Yeah, that movie's great.
All right.
Definitely go see American Fiction.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. How about this? Big decisions we take our time with. The top 5 are buying a house or changing jobs or moving. And I can tell you this, I've made those decisions several times in life. The easiest decisions I ever made.
Yeah.
Which house to buy? I never got caught up in haggling over it's like, no, that one, I felt good when I was in there. What else do I need to know? The pipes work, the heat works, I can fix what breaks. I've never, ever, ever understood that some of the things people torture themselves with when choosing a house. I mean, and there are things that I've bought. The house I have, the last time I bought a house, I was like, I'd been in there like 6 weeks. I was like, oh, crap, I didn't think about this. But it's not enough to make me like hate the house. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes the bigger decisions, that's when you just go for the gut. You got to trust the gut on some of these things. Moving, taking a new gig or whatever. Yeah, man. The bigger the decision, it's almost like it's like that. What's the Gladwell book? Blink. The decisions you make in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
All your brain is a computer, and if you let it do its work, it's going to give you a better answer the less you get in your own way. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that? Am I alone in that? I mean, the first time I bought a house, I sweated. It was actually a condo, and I lost sleep over it. And then I did it, and I realized, like, well, that was stupid. It's just like buying anything else. It's just more. I mean, you like it or you don't. You're going to be happy there or you're not. And I don't know. Am I nuts? Am I just oversimplifying these things?
No, I don't think so. For me personally, it's just getting, we talked to Dan Chesky, Dan Southside Marine this morning. You're thinking about buying a boat? Go to somebody that knows what they're talking about. If I was buying a house, John Schuster, I mean, you go with the people, and I'm not just kissing clients' asses, but they do owe me some money for that, I believe. No, but I'm just saying, you go with people that you know and trust are tried and true, and then, it's the 5-second rule. There's something out there called the 5-second rule. I don't know, Ivy League psychologist came up with it, but you count backwards from 5 to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make your decision. Your brain is wired for the 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Decision. And
why do you have to go backwards?
Because that's what the psychiatrist said. I don't know. Ask her. I just read about it.
I guarantee
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Because she said so.
That psychiatrist spent, I guarantee you, hours going, is it 7 seconds or 5?
Yeah.
Maybe it's 9, but it's got to be an odd number. Even numbers make people too comfortable. It's got to be an odd number. It has to be a prime number.
Yeah.
We can't have guarantee it was not a 5-second decision
Blast
to come up
off.
with the 5-second decision.
Yeah. Right.
Jeez.
Agreed.
All right. Fair enough.
All right.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
There is a band from Tennessee no one's ever heard of until right now. They're called Llorona, Llorona. You can Google that name if you like. I have a feeling next time they play a gig, they'll be under a different name. They have parted ways with their singer in what is the wildest story I've heard in years. It's a story that's, I mean, in any context, in any setting, in any workplace, this would be phenomenally bizarre, and it would be getting a lot of attention. The fact that it's in a rock band makes it even that much weirder. Long story short, singer in the band decides he wants to take a shot at his guitarist's girlfriend. You got the singer. Got another guy in the band. The other guy in the band's girlfriend looks pretty good to the singer. The singer says, I want her. I'm going to make her mine. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't go around, trying to figure out how do I impress her. What he thinks I'm going to do is I'm going to mess up her boyfriend so badly that she'll have to come crawling to me. I'm going to emasculate him. Literally. He starts spiking. Okay, so here it is. The guitarist or bassist, whatever the other guy does in the band, we're actually not sure.
Yeah.
His name is Six. Let's just call him Six because that's his name. Six loves to work out. Six goes to the gym a lot. Six has a pre-workout routine where he puts some powdered drinks together, or, he has a whole fitness regimen. The singer, whose name is Diego, works a day job in a fitness or otherwise health industry job where he has access to a whole lot of estrogen. And he started spiking his bandmates' pre-workout drink, his powder with estrogen. He literally did it for 5 months. He caused the guy a lot of damage.
Yeah.
His hormones are in flux. He's having an unintentional hormonal transition, literally, and then the band had no idea this was happening. Again, the reason for this, he thought, well, if I turn him into a woman, his girlfriend will need a new man. That's literally what the thinking was.
Yeah. First of all,
and
give him testosterone. This metal moron doesn't know anything about women. First of all, you're the lead singer in a band. I mean, you're halfway there to getting a woman. I assume the reason half the guys climb up on stage there, write her a song or something, or give him some testosterone and make him go totally toxic male.
Yeah.
All you're doing is bringing them together. Now Six and his fiance, it says fiance in this story, now they're, crying at chick flicks and they're talking about their feelings. You're only bringing them closer together, Diego.
Diego, not the brightest bulb on the rock tree.
No.
This is for sure. To your point, dose him with testosterone. He'll be the most obnoxious, total turnoff to the woman that knows him now. So anyway, by the way, nobody would have figured this out had Diego not gotten drunk and texted the band, oh, sorry, I've been spiking Six's drink with estrogen for 5 months trying to get the edge on his woman. So they've parted ways, right? They have parted ways with their singer. And I have to imagine, as I said, the next time this band performs, I got to think they're going to have a different name. And the band, again, the band's name is Llorona, which is, what was it, Tony? It was some sort of a
Llorona, a vengeful ghost in Mexican folklore, said to roam near bodies of water, mourning her children whom she drowned in a jealous rage after discovering her husband was cheating on her.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
lovely.
I wonder if they knew that when they chose that name. I wonder if it's like just because that's the name of your band doesn't mean you got to go all schizo and act like that. But, it's funny because here's the thing about bands, though. Okay, imagine that we do the show 5 days a week, right? We get here in the morning. We're together for 5 hours a day. 4 of those hours are on the air. And then we communicate the rest of the day because we're talking about tomorrow's show or we're going to have a guest next week. There's a lot of – it goes on throughout the whole day. Now, imagine if every night, instead of going to our own homes, we all got on the same bus and went to another town and did it all again tomorrow. And then after that, got on the same bus and drove to the next town. And what if you did that for months on end? That's a band. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't get away from each other. And the more successful you are and the more you start touring, at least in the early years, like literally whatever job you have, imagine never getting away from those people ever and then getting on a moving vehicle to go do it again somewhere else tomorrow. That's the reality of being in a band. You can drive your coworkers crazy real fast in bands. It's just like a regular job, but on steroids or on estrogen, as the case may be for this band. But I always used to say, like in my former band, we would have arguments. What should the next single be would be every bit as charged as what should we get for lunch tomorrow. Because you lose all perspective on the importance of certain decisions. Everything is a fight. Not a single argument's ever fully resolved, so it never ends, and it just leads to tomorrow's annoyance. It just goes on and on and on and on. And I will say this: one of the things that saved our band was the invention of the iPod. Suddenly, there was like a new reason. Walkmen were kind of over, but then all of a sudden, everyone had all their own music and a headset. And it just, we can all just get away from each other. We can just put these things on. And I've talked to a lot of people. Trust me, touring bands were like, when they got all the music they ever needed in their pocket with a set of headphones, everybody got along so much better because that ended all the fights over the bus stereo.
Right. Well, and I heard that, when bands got really big, they just started traveling separately. I know a lot of big bands that we've interviewed over the years, and he came into town on Saturday to travel. The Stones travel separately. Sometimes Charlie used to travel with Mick or whatever, but they not only travel separately but stay in separate places, and that's how you get it done over a period of time, I guess.
If you can afford to do that, that's a pretty great way to go. Metallica,
right.
when I know Metallica, that's 4 guys in the band, and when the bassist Robert Trujillo joined like 20 years ago, at the time the band it was a 4-man band with 3 private planes. And so the bass player just rotated who he rode with. But the other 3 guys have their own planes. And they would do a tour in Europe, and they would just play weekends, and they only saw each other at the gigs. But they got along great. I mean, that's just kind of what you have to do because, again, we all get along here, but imagine if we never, ever got away. For 8-10 months at a time, we just did the show and then got on a bus and just rode for 10 hours to the next place to then do the show again tomorrow. Getting your own space becomes the most important part of being in a band.
I suppose when you start out, not having that space is almost probably necessary for the band to bond and create some art, some music. I mean, you've got to all be sleeping in a living room of someone else's house and then spending all the time in that van and that bus. But that's the thing that makes you is the thing that breaks you.
Yeah, well, you have to establish that chemistry. You've got to be able to finish each other's sentences and thoughts, and you develop your own shorthand creatively, certainly. Nobody in any band I've ever been in is like a music scholar. You don't say, go from the sustained 7th down 3 keys down to you just go hit the thing and do the thing like the other song and then double that up and cut that in half and then pause, hit the diamond and, like a 2 count and then go into and every band has their own language. And you all understand what each other's saying. So, the early years where you're just crammed together. I mean, the Beatles are still the most famous example. They just went to Hamburg 7 hours a night, 7 nights a week for months on end. Anybody that comes out of that's just going to be pretty great, and they're going to understand each other so deeply on such a level. But then at some point, as you start to hopefully grow up and mature, you recognize, okay, that chemistry's there. That's not going away. What's got to happen is we've got to get away from each other so that for the other 21 hours in the day, we're not just completely sick of each other.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock 92 KQRS.
I did a solid for my wife years ago. I said, you know what? I'm not going to become one of those guys who just works out compulsively. I'm just for her sake. That's not what I'm going to do. I've said for years, the only thing keeping me from being right where I want to be is about 1 million crunches. That's it. Just about 1 million would set me right in shape. But now I've got great news. This is just confirming and affirming what I already knew, which is too much time in the gym is just bad for you. We all know this, but now check this out. If you have big ab muscles, that is legitimately quite possibly bad for you. Researchers from the University of California, San Diego are saying larger abdominal muscle areas, guys with the six packs, guys are just focused on those abs and getting that real dense, firm, washboard abs. It can mean a greater risk of heart disease later in life. So
I'm kind of chalky this time of the year, though. Very
kind of
pale.
Chalky, sure.
Yeah, I got a chalkboard going here. The way they word it is sort of misleading. They're like biggest abs. When I first read that, I went, mine's getting pretty big. My abs are really expanding. But they're talking about the real rock hard defined abs here. That's not good for you. It doesn't that check out that we're working out too much? Like, you're not supposed to run a marathon. That's terribly hard on your body. Mm-hmm. There's too much gym time. Just a little goes a long way. A brisk walk with the dog across the bridge, perhaps. Or that gets the job done. We don't need six packs.
These guys are saying, we've been overlooking muscle in health for so long. Researchers focus on fat. But muscle is a large, active metabolic tissue. And if you've got larger ab muscles, you are at nearly 6 times higher risk of heart disease later. So listen, scratch my plans for the week. I was going to be on that, It was going to be nothing but planks and crunches, but now I'm going to kick back a little bit more. Just relax and appreciate the fact that I'm doing my heart a favor.
That boy.
But of course, the workout I will be picking up, and this is, I'm not, hey man, listen, I'm all about that jawline, and so it's, I need the angular jawline, I need the chiseled out of granite jawline, so I'm gonna jump on board with the latest trend and work on the face yoga. Electric shock. Fitness fanatics are looking for the jawlines. There is now electric shock therapy to give you that sort of a jawline. There's a guy named a woman named Coco Hayashi, a celebrity face yoga instructor.
Oh, boy.
No, I'm sorry. Coco is a man. His famous client list does include Kim Kardashian. And he's saying, listen, the jawline is the new waistline. There is something called face yoga, a series of simple exercises that can help firm up skin, reduce wrinkles, get rid of a double chin, chisel your jawline. It's the natural solution to regaining your youthful appearance, apparently. It wakes up sleeping muscles in the face. You relax overworking muscles for wrinkle reduction. Okay, listen, face yoga. Apparently, there's a few places on your face you can touch, put pressure, and then it relaxes muscles, which then draws the skin back in. I don't know about this. This sounds to me a lot like, what's the word? Oh, yeah, horseshite.
Yeah. It sounds like something to get people that just have money falling out of their pockets to pay for. I'm going to go down for a little face yoga today. They're just looking, like Kim Kardashian, looking to fill her calendar. I mean... Feel free to exercise your face, though.
I mean, I know in the 60s, John Lennon was putting on weight, so he just started chewing gum all the time. I remember reading that. Remember, you see a lot of footage of the Beatles on stage, and Lennon's always chomping gum. He was feeling a little jowly. And so as a kid of Beatles influence, I was always like, yeah, if I ever feel like I need to tighten the face, I'll just get on the gum tick. It worked for John Lennon. Nothing,
right.
He was obviously happy.
Just go under the knife, just have it pull them back, right? A little cosmetic surgery.
Or just do that, for God's sakes. Just do that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Face yoga. I love it, man. Seriously. Yeah, just, sorry, man, I can't make it. I got a face yoga class I got to get to.
Yeah, no, that would bother me. That would be the kind of thing if I was in a relationship and my significant other came home and was like, I want to try some face yoga. Would you be willing to do some face yoga with me this weekend? That would definitely be all right. I think we're going our separate ways.
I don't know. It might feel good. I love getting my face massaged.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Okay.
I love it. You can just come and touch my face and my nose. You can go inside my nostril even if you want. Get way in there.
Yo.
It
We're
sounds
on
more
the
like
radio.
a fetish than a workout.
Did you? Are you on a 1-800 phone call right now? What do you think this is?
I just like it.
Yeah.
But that just makes you feel good. You're not assuming you're going to have a whole new rejuvenated look, youthful glow from a face massage. Well, maybe the glow, but the tightening of the face muscles. I'm not sure about this.
No, there's no scientific evidence to support it. It does say in the article there is that, but I mean it's not, and it's not like the muscles in your face are going to grow. Not like you're going to get some really ripped looking face, or that you want one.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
Robbie Krieger and Ed Roth join us on the horn right now on the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hello.
Robbie,
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to speak with you, Robbie. I was just explaining that as a kid born in 1965, your playing has been woven into my brain, my DNA, my musician and music fan DNA for life. So it's a real pleasure to talk about this a new album with you, Robbie Krieger and the Soul Savages. I've heard two songs. And I guess where I want to start is there's no question who's playing that guitar. Your tone, your feel, your licks, if you will. You play like a lot of other people, but you play like nobody but you. And yet you're still expanding and you're still changing and still adding things to the mix, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what keeps me going,
This new
You
band.
can't keep doing the same. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Let her rip. Well, with this band, from what I've heard, you have, of course, legendarily so, been in a band that improvised and had very live feel. When the world first heard of you and the Doors, it was a time when a lot of bands were very prepackaged and very produced, and you guys had this very jazz-like approach, for lack of a better term, a lot of improvisation, and so now, all these years later, the Soul Savages, this is a very natural extension. What a great group of players you have.
Yeah, I mean that's what makes the foundation of the group. These guys are like world class. Everyone is, Kevin Brandon. He's the bass player. He plays with Aretha Franklin for like many years, and Franklin, the drummer, Franklin Vanderbilt. He was Lenny Kravitz's drummer for the last 10 years.
Yep.
And Ed Roth, who's with us here, has played with so many different great artists. He'll tell you about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, Ed, it's I'm glad you could join us as well. You have got a phenomenal resume. What when you first got in a room with Robbie Krieger, what do you remember about the first time you guys played together? Anything specific jump out at you? It's as familiar, as I said, a tone and a feel as any in rock history.
Yeah, I mean, one of the special things about Robbie is how much he listens and reacts to other music, which, is everything to me as a player, is playing with guys that listen and want to grow and evolve. As you said, Robbie's 100% got his own voice. He hears things the way he hears it, which I think is sometimes different. A lot of times different than how other players would approach, and he's got a little different tone from when he's just playing with his finger. He's got a nice fat tone. It's just a joy playing with someone, like I said, that listens, and when you make a left turn, he's going to make that left turn with you.
The new album, Robbie Krieger and the Soul Savages, is available CD, vinyl, digitally, of course. It's 10 songs, an instrumental album, and it's I hate throwing labels on it, but it's the whole bag. It's if you want to call it jazz, blues, roots, everything. There's so many different things. I've just heard 2 songs, but I know from both of your resumes how much other things there could be involved in here. There's very much a groove to this too, very soulful, and to me, hearing the 2 songs I listened to, this is the sound of a band that's still playing very loose, yes, listening to each other, but you've obviously had hours and hours and hours just jamming, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's really how it started, was jamming. The 4 of us would get together just for fun and jam, and some pretty cool stuff would come. We'd always record everything because we were jamming at my studio, and these songs just kind of started to form almost by themselves, And after a while, we had 6, 7 really cool songs. We said, "Hey, let's do an album,"
Yeah, there's nothing better, I think, probably than looking around a room and going, hey, I think we're actually doing something here. You didn't plan it, and then you realize quite happily, we got ourselves a record here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how was it to perform for a sold-out crowd on Tuesday at the Whiskey?
Oh, that was great. It was the 60th anniversary of the Whiskey opening on Tuesday. And, we were one of the first bands to play at the Whiskey.
Of course.
And, we played all the Doors songs. And we played for 3 hours.
Wow.
Without
4, I think.
We played, all the Doors songs and a lot of really, really deep cuts.
That's cool. I actually came out to see you at the Whiskey in July. That was pretty special. How does it feel playing there? Yeah, it was so fun.
That's right. Yeah, we played 3 nights, I think, at the Whiskey back in July.
Robbie, at the time you first played the whiskey, nobody had been playing rock and roll music for a decade, much less 5 or 6 decades. Was there do you remember specifically in those early days, did you think it was a 2-year run, a 5-year run? Did you even put a number on it in your mind about how far you could take this thing?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just, having fun, and well, let's get to play at the Whiskey now. That was the coolest place in town.
Sure.
And we were just happy to before that, we played up the street at this place called the London Fog. And that was just a crappy little place, the little bar,
Right.
And a couple of the people that worked at the Whiskey came and checked us out. This gal named Ronnie Herron, who was there the other night on Tuesday, by the way. She was kind of the hiring person who hired the bands, and she heard us and she liked it, and she said, "I want you guys to come and play the Whiskey." Okay,
sure. And then
if you insist.
One thing leads to another, and then there you have it. An iconic band comes out of the Whiskey. Now with Robbie Krieger and the Soul Savages, another beginning in a career filled with them of new expressions. Do you guys have plans to take this on the road, or is this going to be mostly local gigs? I mean, what I'm getting at is, when will you be in the Twin Cities? Let's go already.
Well, we hope to come up there, yeah. In fact, the drummer that we first started with is a guy from Minneapolis. His name is Dale Alexander. And he played with Prince, as a matter of fact, when they were kids.
Well, then that's reason enough. You got to bring it back this way. Ed, I saw, this is one thing I didn't know about you, Ed. It says on your resume you played with Shuggie Otis. What I got to ask, how was that? What was that all about? When was that happening?
If you know anything about Shuggie, he kind of plays out and records and fits and starts.
Right.
He's been fighting his demons for a bit, but he's a lovely guy, actually, or most of the Shuggies are really lovely guys. When Shuggie was on, it was like playing with the Jazzy Hendrix, to be quite honest. When he's on, he's a devastating player. When he's off, well, then it's a very different kind of ride, but most of the time he's on. I mean, you're talking about a guy that just was a pioneer with some of the things that he did. I think he's one of the godfathers of acid jazz.
Yep.
He's one of the first guys that played with a drum machine, and he brought out that old, there's a Maestro mechanical rhythm percussion box. Wow. And you don't dial in the tempo. There's a dial, and the mechanics inside the box go slower and faster, but things sounded amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Back to this band, I mean, something about Shuggie had that same thing that Robbie has, where he's listening and he's going to go a special place, and I think that's kind of what makes the record we did kind of special is Robbie and I and the guys will make a left turn, and everybody's listening to each other. We'll make that turn, and that's something I enjoy doing with Shuggie as well.
Yeah, that's very clear in the tracks. Your drum machine's name is Franklin Vanderbilt. He's an old buddy of mine, actually, so I was thrilled to see him as a part of this album. Robbie Krieger and the Soul Savages, it's available everywhere, and it is exhilarating. And, gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to speak with you both. All the best with the record, and we truly hope to see you on the road soon.
All right. So you know Franklin?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I go back a ways. I'm a drummer myself, and so we've crossed paths many times. I'm 6'3", and he's like the only drummer I know that towers over me. The first time I met him, I was like, I've been waiting for someone bigger than me to walk into a room. This is great. Yeah, he's great. Please give him my regards if you talk to him.
Wonderful play.
Definitely.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. All the best.
Hey, can you guys do some IDs?
Hey, man, let's get. Well, you know what? We'll say, yeah. What do you want? Let's do whatever you want. I'm wide open. Robbie Krieger asked me a question. The answer is yes.
All All right, what would it be?
You know what? Why don't we, Candace? Why don't we set this up and grab a couple? Can we do this off air, or should we do it right now?
Let's just do it right now.
Let's do it right now.
I think that's cool.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
How about tell us who you are, what the name of the record is, and say you're listening to KQ.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Robbie Krieger from The Doors, and you're listening to my new album with Robbie Krieger and the Soul Savages, and you're listening to KQ.
Woo!
Perfect.
Nice.
I love
Thanks,
it.
Robbie. I do have to say, I just want to tell you, I appreciate you so much for celebrating the Doors in the way that you do and for doing it for crowds. That was such a special night in July. I met so many Doors fans from all over, all ages, and I think it's the most special thing in the world.
Oh, thanks.
Man,
Glad you liked it.
nicely said, Candace. All right, Robbie, Ed, thank you both, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
See ya. So, Candace, let me get this straight. Candace, are you a Doors fan?
Yeah.
I mean, it just is
Greatest thing in the
so
world.
amazing. I fell in love with the Doors when I was like 14. Out of nowhere, they just slapped me in the face, and I've never looked back. It's always made me feel so comfortable with myself and free in my thoughts and feelings. And he really does celebrate the Doors more than I could ever imagine someone doing that. You don't see that a lot, I feel like, with musicians these days. It's always like something new. And even with this new project, he's kind of bringing the Doors to life through that as well. And I think that's super cool.
No snark at all for me right here, what I'm about to say. What you just said is absolutely beautiful. I'm dead serious. At 14, you found music from another generation. It slapped you in the face, and it made you feel comfortable in your thoughts and feelings. That is the greatest thing anybody can ever say about any art form. That is truly a wondrous thing to hear. And for a 14-year-old kid, I can't imagine the significance, how impactful that must have been. That really is beautiful.
Yeah, the Doors rock.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, I'm going to be sick to my stomach, but
Yeah, well,
no. It was eloquent. It was well said. We can all connect with it.
It was very authentic. It was great. I mean, you're so full of crap most of the time, and then this beautiful, this poetic understanding of the power of art comes through. And I, for one, have to go take a pee now. I'm so excited by what just happened. Man,
While
go
Candace
figure.
puts her clothes back on.
Oh, my God.
And Gorman drains the main vein. See how I just wreck a
There
good
it goes.
time?
There
That's
it goes.
What I do.
Yeah, right in the ditch. Right in the ditch, ladies and gentlemen.
You need to be slapped in the face now.
Oh, please. Hey, man, talk about a good time.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Anybody else smelling diesel exhaust, or is that just me?
Yeah, a little diesel exhaust. Yeah, means they've got the.
Seriously, I'm just coming across. I think I've got some.
Serious?
Yeah, I got some.
Yeah,
weird,
that happens in Studio C.
That must just be me. Oh well.
No, they run one of the generators on diesel back there. It happens from time to time.
What? Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've had that problem
Great
before in the
news.
studio. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Ride the buzz, man.
That's fine.
Deep breaths.
Well, just saying, in case I, if I seem a
go
little
down.
somnambulaic here, or whatever that word is, if I'm a little dozy.
It's okay. At least we'll die together.
Well, I'm not talking about dying. It's just a nap.
Yes, I'm not in for that.
It's not carbon dioxide.
That
It's
would
just
literally be the worst scenario in my life, dying with you people.
There's a pool of blood in
I
my
feel like we
studio.
are
Is that
right
weird?
now. No.
He died as he lived. What was that? I saw something the other day. Someone who was just like a tweet. He died as he lived, taunting. He died as he loved to live, taunting tigers at the zoo. Something, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. The diesel fumes are making me.
Oh my
forgetful.
God, how would you go on? Like, yeah, if one of us. Oh my God, I just can't. I don't know why. I've been thinking about death all morning. It's not good.
Wait, hold on. What now?
How so?
I don't know. Well,
It's going to be me, and it's going to be soon.
I don't know. It's so sad. Like, death is so final. I'm just in a weird. I'm having like a Barbie moment this
I would
morning.
think someone spiritual like yourself would not buy into that death is so final thing. You don't have.
Yeah, don't be
know.
afraid.
Okay.
I mean, reincarnation.
Head to the light, Candace.
No, well, Ozzy was playing a couple segments
who's
ago,
gonna die.
and Steve came in my studio and said that I was just thinking about you because Ozzy's playing, and the first thing I thought about was when he's gonna die. Like that was the first thing I thought.
Steve or Ozzy?
Wow,
Is this
really?
because one of your friends crapped their pants this weekend?
Candace's first existential crisis, and it's here on the air live.
Can you smell diesel fumes, Candace?
Oh, no. I'm immune to those.
Yeah.
Great rock record producer Jim Dickinson from Memphis, famously produced The Replacements, Pleased to Meet Me. His tombstone says, "I'm just dead, I'm not gone."
Oh.
It's pretty great.
I like it, yeah.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
I don't think there's ever been a moment where I'm like, oh, man, you know what I need? I need a margarita. Now, when I have them, I'm always like, that's really good. Never occurred to me to have a second one at one sitting.
Yeah, I can't do a margarita drunk because it turns out one of the key ingredients is tequila.
Mm-hmm.
And a little goes a long way with me. I cannot do tequila drunks. Tequila equals orange jumpsuit. You know, I'm going to jail and have. So, but I do like one. It's nice on occasion when you're out doing the, I don't know, happy hour or something like that. I like a good skinny margarita. That's all the syrup and goo and sugar in there, right, Candace?
I can't do the triple sec. I gotta.
Yeah,
it's a gamble.
Right, that's what gives you the hangover, So the skinny, just some good lime juice in there, whatever else they squeeze in there over at Barrio. Take one of those bad boys.
Is this an original idea? I can't imagine it is, but it just hit me. I need to come up with a new cocktail involving tequila and call it a tequila mockingbird. Someone's done that already somewhere, right? Have you ever had that? I mean, it just hit me. I too am not a tequila guy. I can't. I remember very specifically, in fact, the first time I ever did shots of tequila. I was 24, probably. I'd had a margarita. I'd had a drink with tequila. But the first time I ever went to Los Angeles, I was at a bar, a hole-in-the-wall bar, and I had a beer, and someone said, let's do a shot of tequila. I said, sure. I do a shot, and I'm like, oh, man, that's good. That kind of warmed me up. I like that. Did a second one, sipping beer, and then I did a third one, all in a space of about 10 or 15 minutes. That third shot of tequila hit me, and this is so out of character. I immediately started scanning the bar for, I wonder who I should go punch right in the middle. And by the way, I'm not making that up. I was literally like, I don't know, man. Look at that guy over there. What's his problem? And I'm with, it was the guys in my band, our new manager who we'd been working with for just like a month. And he's the one who actually said, well, are you okay? What's wrong with you? Like, we barely knew each other. And he was like, something's changing. And he's like, don't give him any more tequila. I was like, no, I want some more of that tequila. And everyone's like, whoa, dude. And I don't think I've had a shot of tequila since. I mean, I was truly looking for a fight.
Yeah. Usually when you do shots, it's a cheaper. Because I love drinking tequila, but it's got to be top shelf.
Yeah.
Get like some Patron over ice with a little squeeze of lime.
Okay.
Perfect.
Not your Jose Cuervo shots.
Yeah, usually the shots are Cuervo.
Yeah, you go with the Jose Cuervo.
Suck it up.
Oh, we had a thing. It wasn't Jose Cuervo. It was Joe's Queer, and maybe that's even lower grade. Dang.
In the plastic bottle.
The things you learn along the way.
I would get angry,
actually,
but also,
you know what, Zep? Sorry, the guy was. Now that I think about it, he was literally pouring those shots it was liquid. It was in a Ziploc bag. Yeah, so. No, I'm kidding. Tony's face just went totally blanche.
I'll tell you about a moonshine drunk I had sometime down in northern Florida with a guy. He dug it up in the backyard, pulled it out of the whole mason jar, the whole thing. That's the same kind of effect, by the way. My dad and I didn't talk to each other for 2 years after that night. But
hey, we were at the first Black Crowes tour in 1990. End of the year, we were in Raleigh, North Carolina, and a guy came into the dressing room and said, y'all like peaches? And we're like, yeah. And he hands us a mason jar with this peach moonshine. And we were like, cool, thanks. And we're like, we're not touching that stuff. And then we get on the bus, and then you have a few beers, and it's like, well, let's see what's in that jar. and I kid you not, everyone in the band, we poured out, well, 4 of the 5 of us anyway, everyone did an industrial-sized shot, like a shot and a half probably. Everyone did one, and it was smooth. We couldn't believe it.
Oh.
We couldn't believe it. And it was peachy, and it was warming. And I kid you not, every one of us was passed out within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Woke up on the front line. I'm like, oh, and everyone's just sprawled out, just completely. I mean, it was incredibly strong and smooth. And we were like, just get rid of that. Just get that jar out of here.
Dump it.
Man.
Right now. I one time on a tequila drunk, had my buddies came and picked me up. They're like, I don't know how they found out, but they came to the bar, grabbed me, and as they were driving me home in Aberdeen, South Dakota, they stopped at a red light.
Mm-hmm.
I jumped out of the car, dashed into the bar right there at the light, walked inside the door. There were some guys playing pool, walked up, grabbed a pool stick out of a guy's hand, put the tequila bottle I was drinking, by the way, it was empty now, and in my hands on the cue thing, grabbed the cue ball and blew that. Well, they're all looking at me like, what's this dumbass doing? And that bottle didn't shatter. It turned into dust. It was like a sparkly snow globe suddenly in the bar coming down. And then they helped me out of the bar in a violent manner.
I broke a gin bottle once accidentally, and it was right in the middle of a street. On the front porch of a house, a bunch of us hanging out, and there was this giant bottle. It was like a frosted bottle, some brand of gin, and it was a really large bottle. And I went out. I don't remember what shtick I was running, but I did the thing where I pretended to throw it into the air, and it just flew right out of my hand. And I was like, oh. And it was super slow motion as everybody was like... And it just went up and up and up and up. And then I was thinking for a split second, I was like, I can go catch it. Like down the stairs, across the front yard, and grab it before it hits the street. And I didn't move. My feet betrayed me. And it was, it's midnight just right in the middle of a neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia. And that bottle hit dead center right on the yellow line. And the noise was incredible. We all were like, wow, yeah. And then it was like, oh, wait, but now there's broken glass all over our street. But the sound of that shattering glass I'd never forget it. Oops. These things happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of margaritas, by the way, here's the thing. Frozen margaritas, which I don't count. I give those to I used to give my children frozen margaritas. No, I didn't. But that always just seems like sort of a silly drink to me. Frozen margaritas most likely ordered alongside what food? Cheeseburgers.
Say what?
The cheeseburgers are the top food we order with frozen margaritas.
Well, that's very Jimmy Buffett cheeseburger in paradise.
You're like on vacation.
Yeah. Thank you. I was confused by that.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a concert venue back in the day called Center Stage. This is in Atlanta, and it's still there. It's called something else now. A little tiny. It was a club, like a big club, 500 or 600 people. Pretty cool. But in the lobby, there was a woman that had a frozen margarita machine. And she would sell them at every concert. And you thought it was a loop, her voice on a loop, but it was actually her saying this over and over and over. And this is what she'd say. Frozen margaritas, ice cold frozen margaritas. Frozen margaritas, ice cold frozen margaritas.
Over and over.
And I kid you not, anybody that was in the scene in the late 80s in Atlanta, if you say that to them, they will go, that's the Center Stage lady. And she literally looked like she was out of the 60s, a beehive haircut. I mean, just some bizarre old creature of the scene. Frozen margaritas, ice cold frozen margaritas.
That's funny. At the old Mets Center, where the Twins and the Vikes used to play, Metropolitan Stadium, there was a guy, I remember, a vendor, and he would go, peanuts, caramel corn, over and over and over, and same thing, a loop.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you got to have a cadence, Caramel corn. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, my guy at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium back in the day, beer here! Beer here! Just beer here. That's all he'd say. Beer here! Like, man, that would be great. One last thing about the margaritas. 2/3 of us like a salted rim, and 1/4 of Americans say they lick it before each sip.
I do that. I'm a freak, man. I be looking at salt.
I don't lick the rim, but I definitely make sure I spin the glass so that every sip has salt on it, for sure.
Yeah, get a little in there. It is the white, trashiest drink of all time, isn't it?
No question about
margarita. Tony was, trying to give us the benefit of the doubt. Well, they're going with cheeseburgers. No, it's just white trash. They're just like, a cheeseburger and a margarita. And don't get it blended. I've broken up with women who wanted blended margaritas. It's not cool.
I don't even know what that means.
It's just a blended margarita as opposed to on the rocks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, don't get a blended margarita, especially when you're at a packed bar right before a concert. Don't go up and ask the bartender if you can have a blended margarita. Yeah. I knew it was over right then and there. The show was over.
We're next to each other, but yet on different planets.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
Plumbers all weighing in on the strangest things they've ever had to get out of a toilet. Number one, this makes sense to anybody who's got kids. The first thing is Legos. A lot of Legos going down the toilet.
Yeah. Let's see what it looks like when it hits the water. Either that or mom and dad stepped on it, went, I'm flushing it.
Yep, that's exactly it. Also on the list, rubber ducks.
Yeah, see if they float.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of this is you just want to see, a kid is innocently going, I wonder if it'll actually work. And you don't think that there could be a problem. You don't think this could lead to disaster. Number 3, and this is where we start to get a little out there, socks.
What?
Socks in the toilet.
Maybe they're just trying to wash them. I don't know.
The whirlpool action there.
Yeah, I used to give my Barbie. I used to wash my Barbie's hair in the toilet.
Oh, really?
That's how the plumber had to unwedge the Barbie out of the pipe.
Is that? Did they do that for Kate McKinnon as the weird Barbie? Did they put her in the toilet? Is that how that works?
One of the things, yeah.
Number 4, flush down the toilet, and again, this could be accidental. Sex toys.
What? Using them on the toilet and just drop it? Right.
Or just forgetting something is somewhere and you sit down and nature takes its course and then I'm just saying, I don't know.
That's a guy guessing, Candace. We don't know.
Oh boy.
We don't know.
It could be this. There's no. This is not a gender specific suggestion.
No,
not a gender specific hypothesis.
Yeah, the ring could have fallen off. Yeah. It's nice and tight. When
if you forget it's there, then you need to go up a size. Let's just say that.
Well, I'm blushing.
Comfortable with the beads. Leave them be.
I forgot the beads were in there.
Don't forget the beads.
No.
Yeah, well.
So I had a big lunch.
I have to go
potty. Here's another one. Teeth.
Oh, yeah. I've Gary, buddy of mine, had that one, your buck teeth right there. He had the 2 front ones, your beaver teeth there. One of them fake, and they just jam one in there. That's how they replace that. You get a fake tooth in there, just one.
Right.
And it's not screwed in. His wasn't anyway. And barfing himself inside out one night. A little too much to drink, and out comes the tooth. Well, they're hard to replace. They're expensive.
Sure.
Right. He didn't. Yeah. He just went right in for it because you can't flush the toilet. But I think a lot of people just, puking probably. Puking out a tooth.
Thank you very much. That really does explain. That's a perfect explanation, especially if you've got one of those. If you've got a placeholder, it's not been permanently affixed. My brother Jim played college basketball. He got elbowed so hard under the basket once that those 2 front teeth had to be removed from his mouth.
Oh, Lord.
And for a series, for longer than you might think, he had a fake, it was both teeth in one, just a piece he could fit in there.
Yeah.
And then he would remove it in the middle of conversation with strangers just to watch them freak out. Suddenly you're like, I'm talking to a guy. If you remove your 2 front teeth, anybody you're talking to your IQ drops about 40 points as soon as they see that. And so, you turn into that slack-jawed yokel who's missing those your choppers. And so we had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, I can totally see if you've got that kind of situation going on and then you get sick, boom, one thing leads to another. That's it. My 2 front giant teeth, my beaver teeth right up front, they're not fake, but they are. I messed them up so badly as a kid. I went over the handlebars, smashed my face into the street, and those 2 teeth, I'm not exaggerating, turned black. They lost all color and turned dark.
Yeah.
Dentist said, you've killed the nerves. The color will come back, but not all of it. And they're like, these teeth cannot be whitened. They can only get so bright. And the nerves have been dead forever. And now it's like a thing. I'm finally at a place where I have to actually get some work done to make this right because they're about to be problematic otherwise. But I can hold ice on those teeth. I don't feel anything. Like, people like you put ice in your teeth after a second. You're like, no, I can just sit there, scoop of ice cream. I just hold it to my teeth and freak people out.
Oh, God,
Can't feel a thing. Yeah, right there. The 2 big center teeth, too. Kind of weird.
Put a match to it.
Try it. Let's go.
Let's do different things. Yeah, let's try and drill into it and set it on fire.
Give me one of those pieces the dentist does where it separates your lips into. As long as I'm not going to burn the upper lip. If I'm protected otherwise, let's burn my teeth. I don't care.
Grinder. Should we get a grinder on it?
Here's another good one: turkey bones and Brussels sprouts.
What?
Brussels. Well,
Again, a just consumed and then thrown up Brussels sprout. Maybe I don't understand it otherwise.
But Brussels, they smell like they came out of the toilet to begin with.
Yeah, really. Bananas. I would hope peeled. At least take it out of the skin first.
I had a friend in high school. Her dad made us flush down the cereal if we didn't finish it all every time.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, because they didn't have a disposal.
Probably not. Because there's still some liquid in it, And
Buy better cereal. What kid doesn't finish the cereal?
No, shredded wheat.
Yeah.
Now, Candace, if you don't finish those grape nuts, you're going to have to flush them. Boy, remember the first time you took a big spoonful of grape nuts in your life?
My dad, that was his cereal, right?
Woo.
So inevitably we would get home because we didn't eat cereal for breakfast. We got our one box of cereal when Mom would make the trek in. So we got our fun cereal, and then we'd whip through it in like 2 days, and then you were stuck with her Special K or his grape nuts. And I thought, why don't you just eat gravel?
That's what it is. It is finely chopped gravel. I had grape nuts within the last 10 years. I just thought, screw it. I'm at the store. I'm like, by now they probably taste pretty good. They don't. No, there's nothing. There's not enough blueberries and strawberries on the planet to make that go down in a way that I found it all pleasurable. Just true. And I was worried about my teeth, frankly. Also on the list, here's another one: a pipe stuck inside another pipe, like just pieces of pipe. Basically, people will just flush anything. They just say, I'll kick right out, take care of that. Finally, here's the best: a 2-man tent and sleeping bag. I don't know
how.
What? A tent? What happened in there?
I don't know, but I've never seen a toilet big enough to contemplate such a thing.
No.
I would imagine if you need to flush something crazy, do it on an airplane because those things will suck anything out.
Yeah, no kidding.
What if you could get an airplane toilet in your house?
Oh,
get that suction go.
Same size.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Right. Calling 911. Can you imagine the trouble people would be getting in with? Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, the people, we're not allowed to have that kind of suction available, to ourselves just in
very
our
true.
homes.
One thing that I didn't know until this was explained to me. Our old piano player Eddie we would say, like, how in the world how can you stand a transatlantic flight? You smoke 500 cigarettes a day. How do you manage? And he'd go, that's what the bathroom's for. And he would go into an airplane. He would go into the lavatory. He would get down on his hands and knees. He would put his face right up to the toilet. And as he lit the cigarette and inhaled as deeply as he could, all one giant drag, he flushed and then blew the smoke into the toilet, and it sucks it all right away. You got to get the timing just right, but you don't set off a smoke detector. Everything goes the cigarette
that guy's
goes
all right in there. He's flushed like 12 times.
Yeah, the cigarette and the match everything goes out with it, but you get that one giant lungful. You do that every couple hours, and he could. That's his idea of a nicotine patch, I guess. He would patch himself across whatever ocean he was traveling across to get through. I've never tested that theory, as I'm not a smoker, but he swears by it.
All right, well,
or he did, I should say.
That desperate. Maybe just go with the nicotine patch on the flights, but I'm just spitballing for him.
Maybe.
I lived with when I was living in Boston. Two of the guys, you talked about, Mom always said, hey, the world always needs another plumber.
Yep.
Two of them, the only two that paid rent and had regular jobs were both plumbers. And Perry, one of the plumber, would come home, and if he was in a bad mood, that means that he had to dig a dead end. People flushing the hamsters and the, whatever, the kid's animal dies, and they would try to flush these things. One time he had to dig a squirrel out. A squirrel had died at someone's place. Instead of just letting it out there for some feral cat or nature to recompost, they tried to flush it down their toilet. Yeah, plumbers don't like that.
Could have been suicide. We don't know.
Flush me.
Sad squirrel.
Yeah.
Hey, you see that guy? What's his name? He had the big bushy, the really big tail. Haven't seen him lately. No, I don't know. He said something like he said he had a plan. He was going to test something out.
Yeah, he's not doing one more winter. That's it. He's done collecting nuts.
It's the best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
You have a Glenn Close story?
Yeah, I bumped into her.
Lay it on me.
Montana when we were on break. Yeah, she lives in Bozeman. I didn't even know that. But she was doing a friend of mine is an actor there in Bozeman, and they're doing a little production called Peter and the Wolf. We're all familiar with that for the kiddos.
Yeah.
And invited me over for a reading of it. Didn't tell me that the person that's narrating the entire thing is Glenn Close. She looks fantastic.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, wouldn't leave me alone. Glenn.
Come on, Glenn.
I mean, I will not be ignored, I think is what she yelled
That's
at.
exactly what she said. The second time my former rock and roll combo appeared on Saturday Night Live, she was the host. It was the Christmas of '92 show, December of '92. And if you ever go back into the archives and watch it, you will remember it forever as the unfunniest episode in that show's history.
Oh no,
not one. I mean, I just remember sitting there going, "Can we not?" I mean, this is no one will. This will never be replayed ever. It was. They were phoning that in like no one's business. I saw her in the hallway and walked right by her, and it was still. This is 5 years after Fatal Attraction, and I was still very much like, oh my God, there she is, and knowing full well she's an actress. That's not who she is in real life, and it still sent a shiver right up my spine.
She give you a nod.
She was very nodding. I was just walking by. There was nothing whatsoever, and that's kind of how I wanted it.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
So we can always ramp up the awkwardness now that we've got this new toy to play with anytime. But sometimes in life, there's just good old-fashioned awkward moments, like no app, no algorithm, no artificial intelligence, just good old human insanity. This is a great one. I was a waiter at an Italian chain restaurant when some dude proposed to his girlfriend in front of everyone and got rejected. Okay, that's bad enough. But then he goes, but then they didn't leave. He kept talking to her while she had her face buried in her hands.
Oh, yeah.
How long do you watch that before you stand up and very gently go over and go, hey, fella?
Yeah.
Dude, trust me when I say this. You need to let her leave the room now.
Yeah.
She needs to be able to get out of here.
I think I walk over with 2 shots of Jameson, and the other one isn't for her. It's for me and him, and I sit down. I'm like, let's make eye contact. Let's do this. And while she leaves, we're going to I've written a little something here for you on ChatGPT. It's called The Loser in the Restaurant. I watched a guy, a woman break up with a guy in public at a restaurant. Now, they weren't sitting at the table. They were leaving, and I think it was I don't know what preceded that. It sounds like it might have been a little bit of an argument. But there in the lobby is where they decide to make their stand, and she's breaking up with him, and he's insisting on giving her a ride home. She's like, no, we're done. I don't want to ever see you again. And then he starts to beg and plead with her and looks at the rest of us who just can't stop but watch. We should just scooch by, like, excuse me, coming around. Can I sneak past you? That old Minnesota line. But we're just all standing there watching. And he looks at us and he cries and he goes, he's crying, tears in his eyes. He goes, well, help. And I'm like, no. I mean, all I thought was, well, we could subdue you while she gets the hell out of here. But then I don't know what we're going to do with you. But yeah, that's extremely awkward and weird when someone else is going through that in front of your face, isn't it?
I can tell you, and I haven't thought about this in years, and we used to always laugh about it in the band. We watched a couple break up during a gig. They were right in the front row, and the show started, and they were rocking out together, a little bit of grinding here and there, and by the time the gig was over, she had already left. She blasted him with double-barreled fingers, both hands, double fingers, and he grabbed one of her hands, and she strung away, and then another girl got like, hey, don't put your hands on her. The whole thing, they went from we're absolutely in love to she was like, I'm out of here in less than a 2-hour set.
You bring up another really good awkward moment. I just thought about that, and that is if you're in public, and I'm thinking about a bar, and there was a band, and there's a little bit of a tiff with your significant other, just a little bit. You get into them every once in a while, and then someone runs in to rescue her from the moment. You're like, no, we're just having a little, it's just a little disagreement, but it's either a guy in shining armor that's going to be no, I've got this, or another woman that's also drunk and freaking out and going, leave her alone. I'm like, sure. I'm just making we've been seeing each other for 5 years. This isn't, Even she has to jump in and say, no, it's relax, but the drunk awkwardness.
First trip ever to New York City with the band, 1988, just a bunch of knuckleheads from Atlanta. And my singer and I are walking home from a bar to a buddy's apartment we were staying with. And we were outside an Irish pub in New York, which sounds like a setup, but it's not. Right on the sidewalk. And there was a couple standing there, and they were having an argument. And the girl slapped the guy in the face, and the guy slapped her back much harder.
No, all right.
And without hesitation, we both went, hey, and we grabbed the guy, and that girl beat the snot out of both of us with her purse.
Oh.
And so, these are Southern ears hearing, hey, you get off of him. It was like the worst New York or New Jersey. It was like Ariana from The Sopranos attacked us with a purse.
Yeah.
And we both were like, whoa, okay, never mind. Sorry, we were trying to help. And we just walked out of there like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess that's okay to slap each other's face. That was pretty rough.
Same deal. I was in a club, and a guy throws her into the wall. Pins her up against the wall, and they're yelling at each other. She's hysterical. He's hysterical. He's wearing a hoodie. I'm like, I put my hand on his shoulder, and he kind of gets aggressive with me, so I take his hood and the old pull it over the head, kind of the hockey move with the shirt, and take him down to the ground like, just let's relax, you guys, and everyone chill out, and pow! She sucker punches me on the side of the face.
Ooh.
Leave him alone. I'm like, all right, you know what, fine. Go back, pin her against the wall. Gee whiz.
This is a great awkward moment. Check this out. I tried to hold the door open for the elevator by sticking my arm between the doors. And in the process, my hand went straight into a female coworker's breasts.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. Now, that's good. That's good, but here's where it gets great. I yelled, pulled my hand back, and the door shut without her being able to get in. So now it looks like he just copped a feel as the door was shutting. You know what I mean? Like,
great timing.
That you couldn't do that if you tried to make that happen.
Nope. That's
absolutely
phenomenal.
Perfect. Yeah, there's a lot of there's in life, generally speaking, you always have the body part. Oh my God, you accidentally, your hand or even your elbow or your foot or whatever, you bump somebody in a awkward position. That stuff's kind of normal, but I mean, it just happens. But there have been a few I can think back to, like, completely accidental, and you can never get the person to believe it. I'm going back to like high school days, but I had a full-on, just my hand straight on a girl's breast that I had no idea. I'm like gesturing with my hand, and I was making like a squeezing motion, but I put my hand way out to the right, and I don't even remember what it was I was in, what story I was telling or why that made sense. And it did until my hand went right upon, as I said, a classmate's breast, and I was already like making the squeezing motion. And it was one of the first times I'd ever felt one of those. And it was like the roof blew off the room because everybody was laughing except the one girl who was screaming and wanted to kill me. And then I'm standing there with a flush of my heart just races. Oh my God, I just did that, and it was just, I bet if I can remember like what I was wearing, I can smell the chemistry classroom, the whole thing, just so impactful. Like, and I couldn't live it down forever. And there's nothing I could say that would ever make her think that was not intentional, and it truly wasn't.
Right. Yeah, I mean, she's gonna think what she thinks. What are you gonna do? It's an awkward situation.
It's brutal. My parents got into an argument at dinner that ended with my mom yelling at my dad, "See, this is why I never want to have sex with you anymore." Wow.
No, parents cannot bring up sex. My mom gets into the wine a little bit, and something will come flying out of her mouth, and it's, you'll hear 3 kids in 3 different parts of the house all at the same time go, "Mom! Shut her down. Someone put her away." Oh, I love this one. I was a camp counselor. We had a blind camper who couldn't find her backpack. Someone asked her, "What color is it?" She's blind. She didn't know. That happens, That's awkward. The whole blind thing. I was with some friends at a bar one time, and one of our gal friends, happy hour, KQ right here, by the way, out there on 394 somewhere. And the gal said, that guy over there keeps staring at me. And thank God, before we approached him, somebody finally went, I think he's blind. And then the server came up to the table, and he continued staring at our friend as he talked to the server. And we went, oh, my God, he's blind. She's like, well, he should have glasses on or something. I'm like, all right, let's tone it down. He's not deaf.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Those things don't necessarily, they're not mutually exclusive, or they're not whatever the word would be for that. Candace, do we have a caller?
Jake from Woodbury.
Jake, good morning, sir.
Hey, Steve. Zep, what's going on?
What do you got for us, brother?
Hey, I'm a bartender in St. Paul, and I got a heck of a bad date story for you.
Lay it on us.
Hey, I work at a really, really nice bar in St. Paul, and it was Valentine's Day. And a husband and wife, from what I assumed, came in, and they had already, it looked like, pre-gamed it a little bit beforehand. During the course of the night, they probably ordered about $300-$400 worth of food and drinks. By the end of the meal, the husband started to kind of, lay into his wife a little bit. Let me tell you something about you that you don't know. And it got to be a little bit awkward, So my bar crowd starts dwindling, and I go to the gentleman and I say, "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Mm-hmm. He goes, "Leave? I spent $400. Why would I leave?" Well, sir, that doesn't mean that you can, fight in the middle of the bar crowd or anything like that. And he goes, "I'm not leaving. I paid my good money. I'm not leaving. I'm going to sit right here and finish my drink." And I go, "Sir, you're going to need to leave right now." He goes, "Yeah? You in what army?" And at that point, my 6'2" security guard tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Why don't you come with me, buddy?" Brought him outside. The woman was so thankful. We got her in an Uber, and we got her home safe after that. So it was pretty wild, pretty crazy, and, don't fight at the bar.
Yeah,
don't make it at the bar.
That's a solid rescue story right there, man. Nice, well played.
Yeah, very much so. Very much well played.
Don't have that. I just want to say I love the show. Zach, let's go skiing this year, huh? We need some more snow.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. We need some more snow. I'm with you, man. I'm telling you what, I think we're going to, while he was said, he caught me off guard. I was just thinking of my forecast. But, yeah, I think we've got some snow coming. But don't ever count out March. March is good for, I'm saying we're going to get in excess right here in the metro area, or the exoburbs anyway, 1.5 foot of snow in March, 18 inches.
Bring it on.
March.
That's what I say. Bring it.
Fun
I'll take the overs. That sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Right
man.
on. Thanks for the call, Jake. We appreciate it.
As long as it's not too late. You don't want the April storm because it's pretty much useless.
What's wrong with you guys?
You want the March storm. Yeah, we want a big storm. Candace, it's okay. You live in Minnesota.
I didn't relocate from Tennessee to Minnesota to have a Tennessee winter, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just get, I'm still in my honeymoon phase here. It's not even it's just a little over a year. I could use some snow.
It's embarrassing. We have our first World Cup cross-country race here with our champion returning from Europe. Yeah, we've got all that. It's embarrassing out there. We've got, brown sticks and twigs, and we're having to lay blankets and tarps down to try and keep a little snow. We're bringing it in from God knows where. I mean, a little winter in Minnesota is not a bad thing.
Jake told that story, you and what army, and then a giant guy standing there. It reminded me. And a very short version of a story where my former bandmates and I were all in Denver on a night off, and two of us were standing on a sidewalk when some guys driving by just yelled at us. They were drunk, looking for a fight, and made fun of us having long hair. It was a very bizarre situation. And I said, "Yeah, come on back here and tell me that to my face," or whatever it was. And in the time it took them to come around the block and jump out of their car for a fight, everybody else had left the establishment. So now there was 8 of us. And it was again, you couldn't time it any better. The guy pulls up, jumps out, and we had all that's what it was. We walked out of the strip club, and there was a white limousine, and the driver said, "You guys need a ride?" And we said, "Yeah, there's a bunch of us." "Oh, well, I'll take you all. You can all pile in." And so the car that went by, the guy said, "Nice limo," and just made fun of that. You long-haired, whatever he said. And I said, "Yeah, come on back around," And by the time he did, and he pulled his Jeep up in front of the limo and wouldn't let it leave. And he expected two people to be in the limo, but the doors opened and 8 people rolled out as he was standing there challenging us to a fight.
Yeah.
And it did not go his way. But that was one of those greatest ever, like. Oh, that's right. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm driving around Denver yelling at people looking for a fight. That was pretty great.
The best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
This is a story from, I believe, Ireland. They have a competition called a Christmas tree throwing contest. A Christmas tree throwing contest. And this year, a woman named Camilla Grabska was involved in this contest, and someone posted a photo of her hurling a Christmas tree. And, I mean, she is in full stride. She's dressed like in athletic wear, but it's in the winter, so she's got a heavier coat on. And she's in twisting her body. Like, picture a hammer throw. It looks like that. Like, she looks like she's been spinning, and then she's hurling a Christmas tree into the air. The only problem with this is that picture was shown in a hearing because she had filed a lawsuit for almost $900,000 after an incident in a car accident left her disabled. Her car was rear-ended. She filed a personal injury lawsuit, and she has said in court, "I've had constant back and neck pain. It has prevented me from working for more than 5 years. I can't play with my kids. I can't carry out basic chores. I can't even take out the trash." However, I did get myself into that Christmas tree throwing competition.
She could barely get this. Looks like about a 6-footer. She could barely get this over her head, that poor thing. I mean, she's launching it pretty good, too, by the way.
That tree literally looks like it's about to go 30, 40 feet. I mean, she's got a lot into it.
Yeah.
And she looked at the judge with a straight face when the picture was presented and said, "Okay, this is a couple years after your accident. Here you are throwing a tree." She said, "I may have looked happy in this photo, but the truth is I was in excruciating pain at the time."
Was she forced to go into this? Was someone holding one of her kids hostage? You get out there and you win that tree pitching contest. Wow.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
The Christmas tree, I mean, what's the origin of a Christmas tree throwing contest? I imagine it's, there's always the place where you can drop off your tree for recycling.
Yeah.
And I've done this for years. You strap the tree to the top of the car, you drive it down to the parking lot at a school or wherever it may be, and it's just a mountain of Christmas trees. And I find myself, for no reason other than I'm just an idiot and a dude, you look at the pile of trees and you can just drop it right at the base. But no, you're like, I want to get this on top of that mountain of trees.
Yeah.
So I have thrown Christmas trees myself without even thinking that's what I was doing. You just see a pile of trees and you want to add one to the top of it, when you could just lay it at the base and extend the size of the pile a little bit. So maybe this is where it started from.
Is that how you toss it, or do you do it like javelin style?
No, I do it like this. I get one hand, like my right hand is right near the base of the tree, the bottom, and then the left hand goes, halfway up into the trunk through the branches, hopefully wearing a long sleeve, and then a couple of spins, and then just it's like you just want to get it up as high as you can.
I give it the hammer throw. I feel lazy now. I drag mine. I just drag it and leave it about 5 feet from the base, so people have to walk around it to throw their Christmas tree on the pile. I don't think I've ever done that where I've taken a Christmas. They'll come and grab them. They'll take them away, or you just light it up in the middle of July in the backyard when you've had a few beers and a couple of friends over, and then try to explain to the fire department when they show up in their 50-foot flames that, I don't know, someone was smoking in the backyard, I guess, just went up.
Yeah, they say not to do that, but I've only a couple times. But yeah, I've lit up a whole tree. You stick it in the ground so it looks like it's there living, like it's planted, and then you just watch it go. That's kind of
waste.
exciting.
I got 5 hungry goats up in Duwellum that will take that Christmas tree.
Why are you not feeding your goats?
No, I'm just saying they
you
love
starve
Christmas
them until
trees.
the holidays.
Yeah, wow.
They love, especially Snoopy. She loves evergreen, pine needles, all that stuff. She loves it.
Yeah, that is something, but they can't have been, how they spray some of the Christmas trees green, to green them up a little bit because they're not, top quality Christmas trees from out west. So, but yeah, I know you are supposed to feed them to goats. I saw there was a. You talked about that this last Christmas. That's a good way to recycle. Yeah, feed it to the goats. You do have some left over though, right? They don't consume the whole tree.
Oh, they'll consume it all, baby. They're
Really?
not scared.
Yeah, they're goats.
Dave used to throw his cigarette butts on the ground, and Luther would eat them. Their goats are not picky.
I guess
That's their reputation. Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, I clearly wasn't paying close enough attention during the holidays. This is the first I remember hearing of goats eating Christmas trees. That's fascinating to me.
Snoopy loves them, man.
Yeah, there was somebody up in, pardon the pun, Pine City or somewhere. There was a goat refuge that you could drop your Christmas tree off, and the goats would eat it up.
Okay. Well, again, first I've heard of it.
You live and you learn.
That's exactly
that's
the
so
case.
interesting that you didn't listen to something that I said.
Oh.
Okay, we've talked earlier on the show about the annoying things our partners, meaning spouses, boyfriend, girlfriends, do. If you want to extend that to co-hosts on a morning radio show, Candace, we can start throwing lobs anytime you want. We'll throw some haymakers by the end of it.
All right.
I'm just saying.
All right.
Okay. Not listening to things you say. My God, woman.
I'm just the queen of segues. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just trying to get us back on track.
I do appreciate that.
She's bringing it back around.
Hey, this is Steve Gorman, and this is the best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
Zepp wrote a beautiful poem for Candace. This has already all happened. I mean, you've been missing a lot if you're just joining us. So Zepp wrote an ode to Candace using Chat GPT.
I didn't write it. I don't want HR calling me going, that's inappropriate in the workplace. You can't be romantic with a coworker.
We don't have HR here.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
Powerless.
Hey, Tony.
Go ahead, scribe.
No. Try to avoid it.
If you still have that, give me another taste of that, Zepp. If you still got it. Speaking of awkward, a taste. It's what a weird thing to say. So you went to Chat GPT and you put in just a few pieces of information about Candace.
Here's what I put in. Write a poem for Candace. She's blonde, loves Black Sabbath, and is a little weird. Here's what it spit out seconds later. In a world of melodies where Black Sabbath sings, Candace, a blonde soul, her uniqueness springs.
Wait, hold on. What's the first line again?
In a world of melodies where Black Sabbath sings.
In a world of melodies. I want to do it like Ozzy.
Oh, yeah, I should send this to you, man. Yeah, with a hair like sunshine, a love for the dark, her weirdness a treasure, a vibrant spark. To Sabbath tunes, she dances with glee, a cosmic rhythm, her spirit set free.
Yes.
In a symphony of oddity, she takes her part, a little weirdness, a masterpiece of art.
And yet she has a tendency to...
What the heck?
That rhymes.
Tony.
That's what it needed.
It rhymes.
I like this. It's a great band, Candace Wheeler and the Symphony of Oddity. I mean, that's... Come on, man. That's pretty strong.
That is damn strong.
That's enough to make Candace go rouge, as we said. Candace, how do you feel about that? Candace, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel cool.
I feel like Chuck Woolery and you and Zepp just had a date. Tell us about the date. Like, you guys literally, you're writing poems to each other. Candace, if you were going to Chat GPT a poem about Brian Zepp, what elements would you include?
Let's see here. Chat GP what? T.
That's a little...
We're starting from first base here.
Farm, motorcycle, wants to be thrown out of a plane when he's dead. What else can we say about our friend Brian?
Flannel shirts.
Flannel beard.
God, I'm wearing one right now.
Flannel beard.
Attaboy.
Flannel beard. I've got a flannel beard going right now.
Lima beans.
No, lima beans. Damn you. Leave lima beans out of it. I'm calling HR.
It could get it. We could literally just. This is like a whole day's show one day where we're just Chat GPTing notes to each other. Tell Tony I'm sick of his condescension. Chat GPT gets 9 paragraphs on it. Be fantastic.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
A burglary ring is ripping through a bunch of high-end homes on the west side of town. We do have a report from Fox 9.
A masked burglar making off with more than $1 million worth of jewelry. Security video from a home in the West Metro captures him running off with a loaded safe just minutes after breaking into the home. Police tell Fox 9 this is likely part of a sophisticated organized crime ring that scouts out high-end homes and then strikes with lightning-fast efficiency. The recent break-ins are targeting homeowners from Lake Elmo to Medina.
This person is brazen. He's going into these things thinking nobody is home.
Medina Police Chief Jason Nelson reports his department is now investigating 3 residential break-ins of large, expensive homes in the last few weeks, including 2 where the suspect got away with high-value items such as jewelry and cash.
Has no concern about whether that home is alarmed or not, because he's in and out so fast.
And while no one has been hurt physically during the recent burglaries, the losses are devastating.
It hurts. I feel violated. I feel like someone came into my personal space and took all my memories from me.
Yeah.
The last time we were talking about one of these videos from an upscale neighborhood, surveillance videos, it was when that mountain lion was hanging around.
Yeah.
And I watched this video, which you can see very clearly, of a thief on a pool deck picking up a safe he'd thrown off the balcony. And wouldn't it be great for that cougar to show up and just bring him down from behind?
Oh, my God. That would have been the greatest video in the history of you talk about justice delivered right there in the backyard. Yeah,
it's
that
not
would have
often
been
I
pretty
say.
cool.
It's not often I say. I wish I had a grainy black and white video of this guy being attacked and destroyed by a mountain lion. But this one would be great. This one would really be good. I was my family house was burgled twice. I don't remember the first one. I was too young. The second one, though, I was 6th or 7th grade, maybe 8th grade, and yeah, it's incredibly jarring to realize somebody was in your house going through your stuff. And the worst part of it, I remember this. We talked about this a little earlier in the show, but my family, we all went out to see a movie, and it was the first time the house had been empty in weeks and weeks because my dad had been recuperating from back surgery. He'd been laid up in a hospital bed in his room, and it was literally the first time the house was unoccupied in maybe as much as 2 months. Went out to a 7 o'clock movie, and boom, we get hit by burglars who fed the dog sedative-laced treats or something.
Kidding.
That we walked in. We walked in. Now, we had a Springer Spaniel, not exactly a Rottweiler, but the dog was sound asleep in the middle of the living room, just right on the middle of the rug. Like, we come home and he doesn't wake up. And the first thought is like, what's wrong with Rusty? And then all of a sudden it was obvious, like somebody had been in the house. It was pretty scary.
What did they? Do you remember what they ended up getting away with?
There was
items?
It was silver. My mom had a great silver set, and they got silver, and then maybe some jewelry and stuff. But the main thing, and we heard this was in a small town in Kentucky, so word gets around. There was a silver ring at the time. People were getting any sort of high end cutlery or plates and platters. The stuff you only see on Thanksgiving. They cleaned us out.
Did they ever find him? Ever bust him? Ever show up at a pawn shop and there's silver?
That gets a little dodgy. The word on the street was that, and this was never proven, but that it was actually some teenagers. They were working for someone older, and one of my brother's very good friends who years later had been, we all realized, after he'd run afoul of the law many times, a bunch of things pointed back to maybe it was him that did this or was a part of this, and never got confirmation, but it was kind of like, hey, I think he was part of the guys that broke into the house, which, of course, makes things a little weird for the rest of time when I'm in town and I see he or one of his family members, and I always feel like going up and going, hey, remember that time Joe broke in and stole the silver? But I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, when we were a young couple before the kids, didn't have a pot to piss in, what I did have was a few guns, and I kept them. I didn't have a gun safe, they weren't readily accessible, didn't have the money for a gun safe, so I'd keep them stashed in the closet behind a bunch of clothes and boxes generally, and someone broke into our house, and that's all they took. They knew where to look and where to go. So I knew it was an inside job. I thought I had a pretty good idea, kind of a druggy radio friend I had at the time, because one of them was kind of an heirloom from a great-grandfather, my great-grandfather, that had been handed down to each Zepp oldest boy when they were 12 years old of age to hunt. And that's the gun they ended up getting. Any other gun you take, who cares, whatever. But that one still bothers me to this day. But pretty sure I knew who did it, and he fled to Texas, just like they do in the movies. He went south. And
druggy radio friend is redundant. You can just say radio friend.
Yeah, just radio friend,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But he fled. But his family and his brother were around town, and for the longest time, I'd run into him. I'd be, seen Jeff around anywhere? No, we haven't heard from him. But it was still tense if I go back there now. Be looking for Jeff.
Every bicycle I ever owned in my life, every single one, starting from the first hand-me-down I got, has been stolen. Literally, there's the gold Schwinn that I think I was the 6th Gorman boy to own that bike. There was the replacement red Schwinn. There was the blue Schwinn, and then there were 2 10 speeds, and then a mountain bike, and then. And then in the late 90s, I got a bicycle, a really cool, like, street cruiser, old vintage thing, but it's really nice. I still have that bicycle, but that was like, number 8. My first 7 bicycles were all stolen. My wife and I, we lived in a condo in the 90s in Atlanta, and we had 2, like, off-road, like mountain dirt bikes, like you'd take up to these trails.
Yeah.
And we were actually doing that for a time, which sounds like another life for another person. I can't believe I was actually thinking that was fun. And so, but we had a great time on these bicycles, and we had a condo, a nice secure parking deck underneath the building, and they were stolen right out of there. And there was very grainy video of a guy just taking the 2 bikes on foot and walking out of the garage. No telling how he got in. We just assumed that as one car entered, he just walked in and then hid in the garage for a while, waited till the coast was clear, and then scooped up the bicycles. And then we found out from one of the people in the condo association, oh, yeah, that's the 9th bicycle stolen in the last 6 weeks. And I went off, and I was like, you might want to post a note or let people know, hey, by the way, bicycles are being stolen. And this woman goes, well, this is not a dorm room. We're not responsible for your, this is the real world. She just had always looked down her snout at me because I was a jerk with long hair, and she couldn't believe I could live in the same building that she did.
It's called being a neighbor, just being a neighbor. You have fees and stuff like that. Just, just being a decent human being or whatever. I wonder if you're familiar with something called a bicycle lock.
They were locked together, but not locked. They were locked together, but not attached to anything other than that.
I'm thinking of all your boyhood bikes. I was like, did anyone ever?
No, in the 70s? Come on, man.
Yeah. Just go get another Schwinn, another color in the rainbow of Schwinn colors.
If you, I did tell you the story. The one that hurt the most was my blue 5-speed Schwinn with the banana seat, and it had the big gear shifter. Right in between your legs, like on the bar. The Stingray. Yeah. Thank you. Exactly. Bought that from a neighbor named Scott Hess. That was the first bike I had that wasn't a hand-me-down from an older brother, but a hand-me-down like from a neighbor. But that bike was stolen by my own brother and then abandoned, and then it was confiscated by the police.
What? Yeah. And then he abandoned it? He didn't just ride it and bring it back? He
and a couple buddies were out performing just copious amounts of malfeasance in the neighborhood. Yeah. And they were into graffiti and general small-time vandals, just, 9th graders just burning off some steam. And somebody called the police on them. They were in the backyard of a neighbor's house, like not that far from our house, and they saw flashing blues and a cop on foot running towards them, and they ditched they were all on bicycles. They ditched the bikes and ran so they could just jump the fence and elude detection, which they did. But the bike, here's my brother Doug, actually a mastermind criminal. I'm not going to go out on my own bicycle and do this just to be safe. I'll take my younger brother's bicycle. Yeah. And I was a college student when he came clean.
You've got to let the statute of limitations run out on the, I don't know, whatever retribution he would have received if you were still both living under the same roof.
Yeah. I wake up on a Saturday morning and I'm like, oh my God, my bike is gone. It was right here in our carport. Someone stole my bicycle yet again. 5 years later, oh, hey, man, you know that blue, that Schwinn, that Stingray? Yeah, that was me. Sorry, man. I'm like, what in the hell? I can't believe you kept it a secret that long.
Not bad. By the way, my buddy Norm is not in the business anymore, but he just texted me for those folks out there with these safes. And by the way, if it's a big gun safe, a lot of people will bolt these down in their house. Mm-hmm. And knowing that this is a timing kind of thing with this latest burglary ring, because they've got to get out there, it's worth saying, we didn't mention in the story, they had extra patrols in that neighborhood as well as they're looking out for these guys, but they hit so quick. So if it's bolted melted down. But yeah, my buddy Norm was in the lock and safe home security business for a while, and he said, yeah, give your local lock and safe company a call, and they will make that thing much more burglary proof, by just making it much harder, because they only have a certain amount of time. And if they don't think they can get that safe, it is kind of the safe that they show in the video is like the size of, a dorm fridge, but it's big, thick steel with $1 million worth of valuables inside. I'm a little surprised he could carry it.
I wanted to go back to that. $1 million worth of jewelry in the safe at home. Man, I don't know. I mean, I know
Right.
when you want to go out, you don't want to have to think about it. You just want to grab those earrings and you want to grab that bracelet or necklace or ring or whatever. But, I don't care where you live. $1 million in jewelry just sitting around, that's just, whew. Anybody, like you said, somebody knew that was in there. Somebody knew where. Not only did they know what was in the safe, but they knew exactly where to find the safe. More importantly for them. So, yeah, you got $1 million of ice in the house. You got to keep that to yourself.
Yeah, right. Don't
I
even
blame
tell
the
your
kids.
spouse.
I blame the kids.
Yeah, it's the kids. Somebody needs some money for video games, marijuana.
I just mean them. Yeah. I just mean one of their kids was like, oh, she thinks she's, like good cop, bad cop. The mom and dad come down on you for homework, and then you're like, they think they're so cool. They got their $1 million of jewelry in the safe, and then some Judd, what's his name, looking dude at the cafeteria smoking a cigarette. It's like, what'd you say? Your parents got $1 million in jewelry? Good, really? Huh?
You think of Judd
one thing
Nelson
leads
in
to
the
another.
Breakfast Club?
Oh, Bender.
Yeah, Bender.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name? Judd
Nelson.
Nelson, yeah.
I almost said Judd Hirsch. I want to see the Breakfast Club with Judd Hirsch as Bender.
No, you just couldn't pull it off.
My parents, well, your parents are kind of tough. Yeah, mine are hard to deal with too. Yeah. Judd Hirsch, real low-key, rebellious teenager. I'd watch that. I'd watch that all day long.
Why not?
Come on, Louie. Let him finish his history homework later, Louie.
Oh, come on.
That's like an SCTV skit. It would be Judd Hirsch as Judd Nelson's part in Breakfast Club. That's great.
It's the best of the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
There's certain things that people find very awkward that other people find very sexy, and vice versa. Okay? Sexy, lusting after your friend's wife. Awkward, dosing him with estrogen. Let's just say. Okay, there's one. But here's some results of some questions, and I want to get y'all's thoughts on this. This is kind of weird. Okay, this to me makes I never thought this would be something we had to question. Eye contact during sex, awkward or sexy?
Well, I mean, you can make it awkward, right? But for a moment, there's a moment there. I think I'm remembering now that it can be awkward, but it probably means that, there's some sort of emotional connection, which I really try to keep out of the whole sexual experience.
Actual intimacy not welcome.
Awkward.
Well, 75% of the people said sexy, 25 awkward. I guess it just does come down to context, I suppose. It's been so long since I've had to think of a different context. So, I'm probably the last person to ask about these things.
A healthy mix is good. You don't want to avoid eye contact.
Right.
But you got to, you can't.
Right. It's hard to think about someone else and make eye contact.
The trick is to just face different ways.
Yeah, it depends on the moment. If it's in the moment of a particular act, that can be very sexy. But when you're like maneuvering around awkwardly, then that's you don't want the eye contact.
That's true. Yeah. Sometimes. Okay, all right. That all makes sense. Okay, how about this one? How about loud moaning? Sexy or awkward?
I'm an audible guy. I like a little feedback, but mostly after sex. I just prefer if they save all the moaning for after we're done.
And that's that. At that point, it's more like whimpering.
That's
That's
sobbing,
rueful moans.
No, I think it's. You want some feedback. I don't moaning. It depends, right? Candace, can guys moan? Is it okay if a guy moans? Yeah, it's all right. Well, guys are grunters. Women are moaners, I think.
Oh, Billy.
Wow. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one I did not expect to see. Winking. 60-40, sexy awkward. That winking's always awkward. I'm sorry. Winking
I
is.
think of old people.
Yeah,
like when I was a kid, and the old person would say something you didn't understand, and then they'd wink at you and be like, "What?"
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm trying to think
your joke there.
I'm trying to think if I've ever winked unironically, like without trying to be like silly, but an honest to God wink, like, "Hey man, it's just that's weird to me."
What about a saucy number walking by you and gives you a little winky?
I can't imagine that happening, honestly.
She could literally flick a booger at me and I'd be turned on. So, yeah, I'll take a wink.
Okay, wink. Yeah, that's old school to me. Dirty talk. There's a great dirty talk in the sack. Amy Schumer, of all people, has the best line on that. She's like, well, it only works early in the relationship because after a while, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna, and your partner's going, no, you're not. I know what you're capable of. I know what you actually are. You're like, dirty talk is the early days possibility, but at some point, no, it just becomes like, stop.
I think it's got to be passionate and spontaneous, which is the very definition of just getting started. After that, you kind of fall into a routine, and you don't want dirty talk to be part of the routine.
You guys are bumming me out.
This is clinical.
Let's go. I mean, correct the
I don't know.
I'm
I'm still early, so I guess I'll let you know in a few years.
Oh, I see.
Few years?
Oh, no. Y'all are going to be, it's going to be
How
feel
long
fresh
is this going to last?
No, it's going to be fresh and sunny forever. No rain clouds in your future with Mystery Man X. Phone sex, 24% sexy, 76% say awkward. That's just not enough people having distance.
I love it.
I'm just saying, there's times when that's all you got.
Well, also it's like you know you best, so just the the encouragement's nice. But I'm the best at what I do. For me,
no. Phone sex is you're on the phone with someone else.
Phone to have.
No, I know that, but I'm saying phone sex. So you're just encouraging me to do what I do to me.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Oh, all right. Okay, yeah.
So I know how to do that.
I would do that with a person in the same room. I'd talk them through it. While I play PS5 or something.
You're like in the kitchen on your phone.
I don't want to take my sweats off. Here, I'll just talk you through it.
Are we at the point yet? Has anybody ever FaceTime with someone that you're in the same room with?
Oh, okay. No, okay. But I think phone sex is fine, but FaceTime sex is not.
Oh, that's the line?
Yeah. I don't need to see you. Just
Yeah. Because you're fantasizing about a better looking version of them.
Yeah,
no. And you know what it is, Candace?
You trapped me. No,
I did. I did set a trap there. But I think people are unattractive in FaceTime. Does anyone look attractive in FaceTime? Some women will hold the phone way up high at an angle, and then they get something going on there. But most of us just look like we have a big nose, which we can kind of see up, all forehead. Yeah, that would be hard to FaceTime. You'd have to, maybe someone standing on the other side of the room shooting it for you.
But also, if I'm having phone sex with you in my, my routine at home, I probably have like a face mask on. My hair is probably in curlers. Like I'm not really dressing up.
Sexy.
Yeah.
So he can think whatever he wants that I look like, but I probably don't look like that.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Good point. I mean, let the imagination. Play its role. Yeah, sure.
Just going to suggest a lot of backlight. Backlighting as often as possible.
Okay, that's one I said role playing. I've never been able to pull that one off. We've had some fun. I've been in the honeymoon stage, and it's, hey, I'm going to be the naughty secretary, and you be the boss or something like that. I start laughing immediately. I just can't. I wouldn't have been a good act. I would have been the guy on SNL. I would have been Jimmy Fallon, always snickering, during the skit. But I couldn't pull off role playing. It just never
even occurred to me to try.
Yeah, right.
Just-
Okay.
Put this night helmet on.
Yeah, never a chance. There was a bunch of LARPers in our old neighborhood, live action role players.
Sure.
Sunday afternoons, just knights in shining armor out there defending their damsel's honor with sword fights and that thing on a chain, the spiked
The
ball,
mace.
and the mace.
Yeah.
It was like a portable Ren fair. They just come in, and these guys would stage battles, and it's right in this giant middle school's yard, field. And so you'd have families picnicking, you'd have people throwing frisbees, you'd have the occasional 4-on-4 soccer game, people with dogs chasing tennis balls, and then 40 full-ass grown adults dressed like it is 12:19 in Nottingham Sherwood Forest or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would just drive by every Sunday and just go what in the world am I missing? Because I always assumed there's no way they're not going home and then, just continuing the role playing.
Oh, yeah.
I saved you, wench. You're mine now.
Right.
I wanted a strong man with a mace to bring me to his castle.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.